You already know Dad doesn't actually want another tire watch. So, this Father's Day, gift him the tender, juicy taste of his favorite cut of steak from Omaha Steaks. They're a family-owned company with over 100 years of crafting premium meats. Visit omahasteaks.com and get an extra $35 off with promo code AUDIO at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com and get an extra $35 off with promo code AUDIO. Terms apply. See site for details.
Here's special guest host, Larry Fedoric.
Good morning. Welcome to the program. Welcome to Friday. We made it. Another week. Just mark that one down, and here we are ahead of what could be a beautiful weekend weather-wise. Just for me, perfect temperatures, low mid-20s, sunshine. I love that. What a beautiful day. What a beautiful weekend coming up in the neighborhood. And, of course, all in anticipation of Sunday night. Oh, my gosh. So what is it? 2 more sleeps now? That's it. And it's game day. It's game day for the Kitchener Rangers on Sunday. And we still don't know when exactly the game is going to be played. Isn't that interesting? It's scheduled for 7 o'clock, our time, of course. And it might be 9 o'clock, depending on the NHL Eastern final. So if Carolina wins tonight, then our game will be at 7 o'clock. If they don't, it's a good chance our game could be at 9 o'clock our time. Either way.
You already know Dad doesn't actually want another tire watch. So this Father's Day, gift him the tender, juicy taste of his favorite cut of steak from Omaha Steaks. Their high-quality steaks and proteins are perfect for summer grilling. Plus, you'll get an extra $35 off with promo code AUDIO at checkout. Omaha Steaks is a family-owned company with over 100 years of expertise in the meat industry. That means premium meats for premium dads. Every steak is flash frozen and vacuum sealed at the moment of peak freshness, so every bite is as delicious as the day it was carved. Try the fan favorite Butcher's Cut Filet Mignon that has earned the coveted distinction of USDA certified very tender. Give the dads in your life something to savor. Visit omahasteaks.com and get an extra $35 off with promo code AUDIO at checkout. That's omahasteaks.com and get an extra $35 off with promo code AUDIO. Terms apply. See site for details.
I don't know how that affects you showing up at the Odd, because you heard this morning on 570 News Radio, the good news is a watch party at the Odd on Sunday. So if you want that experience, and you can't somehow get to Kelowna between now and Sunday, and you want to be in an arena watching the Kitchener Rangers, then that is the best, the watch party at the Odd on Sunday. And it's free, and all they ask is that you bring a small cash donation, whatever you can, or non-perishable food item, and that's your admission, and you are in. And that is going to be some experience there. Now, we, as you know, are definitely playing. Who do we play? That we don't know. That game is tonight. If you're in general a Memorial Cup fan, then you can catch that game somewhere. It's Everett versus Chicoutimi. Speaking to Mike Farwell on this program yesterday, and I think Mike and I both felt it will be Everett and that we'd prefer Everett. But it doesn't matter. Go Rangers, go. Memorial Cup, bring it home. And, of course, if you can't get to the Odd or whatever, we'll have all the action for you, whatever time it starts, be it 7 or 9. And that is yet to be determined. As I said, it depends a lot on the game tonight in the NHL. Because if a Game 6 is necessary there, then it'll be played on Sunday. What time Sunday will the NHL game be played? That is also to be determined. I was trying to find that information for you this morning, and I couldn't find that. It's like to be determined, TBD. Oh, come on. But I suspect it will be an evening game. Don't you? Like if Carolina and Montreal play, it's all Eastern time zone. I imagine they would start around 7 o'clock, which means they're not going to be done by 9, but you can't start the Memorial Cup game too much later than 9 o'clock. As a matter of fact, it won't be till 9 o'clock. So I mean, I'm just trying to follow the logic of what everybody's thinking on this, because if you are into both games and you tune in the game at 7 o'clock for the NHL, it's not going to be done by 9. So I don't know, but it is Sunday, so like they could have an afternoon game. Uh, I just don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, if Carolina wins tonight, it's a moot point. The game will be at 7 o'clock. If they don't, then I think we still have to figure it out in the next 24 to 48 hours as to when exactly we're going to play. But 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock, it doesn't matter. The watch party is on at the Odd on Sunday, free admission with a small donation or a non-perishable small cash donation or a non-perishable food item. So go Rangers, go! It's definitely going to be a Memorial Cup weekend. I'm well past this thing of I can't believe it's May and June and we're talking hockey. I'm past that. I mean, it's a great part of being a Canadian is having two seasons, hockey season and the off season. That's really what it is. And the off season is always full of trades and drafts, and the next thing you know, it's training camp, and it's like it never ends, which is great. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying it's always there. It's always there. So go Rangers, go. Hey, speaking of competitions, I wanted to start this morning sharing something with you. And every year this comes up. I don't watch it. I imagine it's streaming somewhere or it's on some cable channel. I don't watch it. But of course, the news people always make a big deal about the highlights of the Scripps Spelling Bee, the annual event which brings the best of the best because there's spelling bees all over this continent. And it's kids, and at the end, there's a champion emerges, and we hear these champions in the last 3, 4, 5, 6 people, and then the champions spell these words, and they're kids, and they spell these words that A, we've never heard of before, B, we'll never hear of them again, C, we'll never have any opportunity to use these words. We never knew these words existed, and these kids not only know these words, and I imagine they could give you a general definition of the word, but either way, they know the spelling of them. And it's just incredible to me every year. And something even more incredible this year, which I'm going to share in a moment, but they spell these words. So I looked it up. So generally speaking, there's about 170,000 words in the English language. And there's many more hundreds of thousands, kind of what they call dead words, the words that used to be used that just aren't part of, English has changed and morphed over the years, as of most languages. But so generally speaking, 170,000 words in the English language. Anybody who's got a general adequate capacity of the English language has a vocabulary of between 10 and 15,000 words. And these are our active words that we would use in the course of our conversations and our work and play. We actually have about another 20,000 words that we know that we don't use, but we know their meaning. We at least know what they are. And I was trying to think of an example, and this is maybe not a great example, but here's a word, meticulous. How often do you use the word meticulous? Maybe most of us not that much. But if we heard it, we'd go, oh, meticulous. Yeah, so good, right? It means excellent and attention to detail and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, that's generally what it means. Yeah. So we know it. And if we had to use it, we could use it in the correct context, but we don't use the word. So we have about another 10,000 of those. Again, Scripps Spelling Bee are none of those. They're not words that are active, words that we use, words that we know the meaning of that we don't use. They are just incredible. So here's to this year's champion. And what's incredible, and I didn't know they did this, but apparently they've done this for the last 3 or 4 years. The Scripps Spelling Bee also had a speed round. I had no idea because I've never seen these highlights, but I saw it this year. So this is the champion. His name is Shrey Parikh. I think he's about 14. He won this year's Spelling Bee. And he did a 90-second speed round, which means you spell as many words as you can in 90 seconds. This is incredible. See if you can keep up. This is the speed round of this year's Scripps Spelling Bee Championship with the champion. Listen to this.
Your 90 seconds will begin once I pronounce your first word, and I won't say another word until you press the button. So your first word is Taroni,
T-O-R-O-N-E,
Enthymeme,
E-N-T-H-Y-M-E-M-E,
Iguape,
I-G-U-A-P,
Denebola,
D-N-E-B-O-L-A,
Feidodo,
F-A-S-D-O-D-O,
Coathai,
C-Y-W-Y-D-D-A-U,
Pohutakawa,
P-O-H-U-T-U-K-A-W-A,
Monadnock,
M-O-N-A-D-N-O-C-K,
Amut,
E-M-U-T,
Nanofossil,
N-A-N-O-F-O-S-S-I-L,
Tongkang,
T-O-N-G-K-N-G,
Nakatosh,
N-A-T-C-H-I-T-O-C-H-E-S,
Fla,
F-L-A-I-T-H,
Semele,
S-E-M-E-L-E,
Russell,
R-U-S-E-L-L,
Sauter,
S-A-W-D-E-R,
Campernell,
C-M-P-R-N-E-L-L-E,
Nickel,
N-I-C-O-L,
Zamenis,
Z-A-M-E-N-I-S,
Tarparker,
T-H-A-R-P-R-K-A-R,
Tlachli,
T-L-A-C-H-T-L-I,
Madokwa,
M-A-D-O-Q-U-A,
Retiarius,
R-E-T-I-A-R-I-U-S,
Balintawak,
B-L-I-N-T-A-W-A-K,
Tesseraconter,
T-S-S-A-R-A-C-O-N-T-E-R,
Toracothampsia,
T-A-U-R-O-K-T-H-A-P-S-I-A,
Rapakivi,
R-A-P-A-K-I-V-I,
Wayad,
U-A-Y-B,
Paremia,
P-A-R-O-E-M-I-A,
Melanket,
M-E-L-E-N-G-K-E-T,
Terraglin,
T-R-A-G-L-I-N,
Homeland,
H-O-M-E-L-Y-N,
Chikungunya,
C-H-I-K-U-N-G-U-N-Y-A,
Bromocryptine,
B-R-O-M-O-C-R-I-P-T-I-N-E,
Kashaw,
C-U-S-H-A-W.
I know it's a little lengthy there, but that was his 90-second speed round. I wanted to play the whole thing because I wanted you to get the feeling of it. And I watched this kid doing it, and you can hear how fast he is. And he's just and on the YouTube thing, they're flashing up the words on the screen, and I can't even read the word and listen to him spell it while I'm looking at the letters and understand whether he's right or wrong. I can't even keep up with that, never mind him actually doing it. That is the champion. His name is Shrey Parikh, and he wins $50,000 and a trophy and all this stuff for winning the Scripps Spelling Bee Championship. Isn't that incredible? Did you get one word out of that? Like, did you go, oh yeah, bromocarbon, Taruka thing, nickel? I got none of that. And even when I watched it earlier, looking at it, I got none of those. And I know in past years when they play the highlights of the Scripps Spelling Bee, those kids, those amazing kids, I will sometimes, pause, write out the word. I've done this in previous years. I didn't do it this year. Take a couple of the words and write them out and look them up and figure them out. And I'm like, it's a word from geology that means the mining of a fossil within a set amount of time during solstice. These words, who knows what they mean? Who uses them? I guess somewhere in scholarly halls or science labs or somewhere, people are using these words occasionally, but I just don't know. How would you learn them? That is just a capacity that is remarkable to me. Incidentally, in 90 seconds, he spelled 32 words correctly. I can't tell you, and you wouldn't remember, and I remember, you wouldn't remember which words he missed and which words, he hardly missed one. I mean, in 90 seconds, because notice how quick he goes, to me, it could be LMNOP, XYZ, right? DFGHIJK, I don't know, but he spelled 32 words correctly in 90 seconds. I don't know why. Are you fascinated? Because I'm fascinated by the fact that when you watch the regular competitions, they throw a word out there and there's kind of a pause, and then they repeat. Can you repeat the word? Can you give me a context? They could ask these questions, And then slowly they go PSYLX3 triangle. They spell the word out. But in a speed round, he's like instant recognition of this word and blah, 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 just through it. Oh, man. So I wanted to share that because I've never heard a speed round at the Scripps Spelling Bee before. They've been doing it for about 4 or 5 years now, and apparently it's part of the competition, the speed round. How many words can you spell correctly in 90 seconds? I would not get one, and not only that, but I don't think they'd offer me more than one. They give me the first word, and I would be D, and my 90 seconds would be up, that just like that. So hope you enjoyed that. This year's Scripps Spelling Bee champion, and especially, in times now of spell check and autocorrect, we don't really care about spelling, and certainly with abbreviations. And like if you're writing something out and you spell night, NITE, it's perfectly acceptable in a lot of programs and texts and things like that. It'll just say, yeah, night, we know what you mean. It's tonight, night, NITE. And in these times of abbreviations and slang and text speak and all that, spelling is like, what's spelling? Who cares spelling? Well, the Scripps spelling people care, and apparently there's a group of kids that really care about correct spelling. I was, and I've said this before, I was the spelling champ in 3rd grade. In grade 3, I was the spelling champ of the class. I got a little special prize and a little book, storybook that was part of it. And there was a first, second, and a third. And I got first and second and third, and we were the spelling bee champions of our class. And so I've always had this spelling thing where I like spell it correctly. I'm not the spelling police. Like if somebody doesn't spell it correctly, I'm like, excuse me, that should be GHT. I'm not that person, but I always try, especially when you're sending things out to other people, to spell things correctly. And of course, I do use these spell check and autocorrect. I use them, but I appreciate them. But anyway, there's your spelling champ. Isn't that incredible? This is 570 News Radio. We're also on Rogers TV. I'm Larry Fedoruk, in for Mike Farwell. Let's talk about our show today and what's coming up. We'll do that next. Coming right back. Larry Fedoruk in for Mike Farwell today. Also on a Monday, Mike's going to be traveling back in the middle of the night, regardless of exactly what time the Sunday game is. You can hear all the action with Mike Farwell here on 570 News Radio for the Memorial Cup Championship game, either at 7 or 9. That is to be determined. Either way, the odd is open, as I've mentioned, as we've been mentioning on 570 News Radio, listening. Well, you can listen as well as watch, I guess. A watch party at the Odd on Sunday night, and admission is free with a small cash donation or a non-perishable food item. Bring what you can and cheer on the Rangers at the Odd. It's a great, second best way to watch the game if you're watching. The first would be to be in Kelowna on Sunday, I guess, but second best be at the Odd on Sunday. Now, if you can't, we'll have all the action on 570 News Radio. So anyway, Mike, after that game, everybody leaves town immediately. And then by the time he gets home, so I'll be on with you Monday and celebrating the Memorial Cup. And then Mike will be back. Mike will be back next week. But also, by the way, it's 2 weeks today that the first World Cup game will be played in Canada. 2 weeks today. So once we've got a good 2 weeks of Memorial Cup celebration before we start to focus on FIFA. Incidentally, there's going to be 6 games in Toronto. None of them are sold out yet. Did you know this? None of them are sold out. People are looking at the fact that I can't afford a ticket, even up there, way up there in the back. It's still hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And they feel maybe there's two schools of thought. One is that they over anticipated the interest of early round games in an expanded World Cup. So even though Canada's playing, how many people want to spend hundreds and hundreds to watch Canada versus Bosnia Herzegovina? No offense to either team and their skill set. Just saying, is the fan draw there for any of the games, the early round games? It generally isn't in any World Cup unless there's a team playing that you're cheering for, and then of course you're watching. So that can be really, demographically specific. So who knows? They may sell out. It's still 2 weeks to go. And then tonight at 7:00, they will be announcing the official Team Canada roster that has not been done yet. And the one thing that they said was that Alphonso Davies will be on the team for sure. He's for sure, but he will not be in Game 1 2 weeks from today because he's recovering from injury. But he'll be on the roster. So he's got to be on the roster, I guess. But he won't be in Game 1. So if you're curious, you can check it out tomorrow morning as you start your Saturday, or check it out tonight just after 7:00, because tonight we announce our Team Canada roster for the World Cup. So lots going on. Hey, lots going on the show today. Coming up at 9:30, in about 10 minutes from now, we're going to be speaking with Grand River Pride. They are having a flag hoisting ceremony that is coming up Monday, and it's can I say homemade? But it doesn't give it really the proper due. It's the Raising a Pride flag that they made, and it's a unique pride flag. I'm going to talk about that with the Grand River Pride. Actually next weekend. I was going to say this coming. It's next weekend. It's the 6th, but you need to get ready and maybe register your support for the annual RedDAY walk in support of preventative cardiac care at the Waterloo Regional Health Network. And we're going to speak to a doctor from there to talk about RedDAY and what's involved. And it's going to be a great walk and great events surrounding the RedDAY coming up on the 6th. But also Manulife is matching funds. So if it's a good time to get involved, because basically your contribution will be doubled. So that's cool. Speaking of things going on, Bookfest is returning to Uptown Waterloo, and it's this weekend. So if you want to plan a spot to go to tomorrow, it would be the Waterloo Bookfest, and it's fantastic. There's local authors, there's readings. Have you ever heard an author read from their own work? It's actually very interesting. I always find it very interesting because the author is not they're not a speaker, a podcaster, or a broadcaster or anything. They're a writer. And to hear them voice their thoughts that they put to paper, in this case, because we're talking actual books, it's quite the experience. And of course, it's a big family-friendly day, just a chance to be social and get out and mingle. As you know, I'm big on that, getting out and mingling and being with people. Here in modern technical times, that's what we should do. So Bookfest is one way to do that. That's tomorrow. And then speaking of things coming up the next weekend that maybe you have to get ready for, and this is something you can get your kids ready for, and it's an annual event, and it happens in a lot of places, but the Waterloo event is next Saturday. It's Lemonade Day. Lemonade Day for the FACTS Foundation, the Family and Children's Services Foundation. And it's an annual thing. And what you can do is, if you go on their website, if you think, boy, my kids could sell some lemonade and raise some funds for the Family and Children's Services, that would be fantastic. Because 100% of sales from Lemonade Day go to Family and Children's Service, like 100%. But they have these kits that you can pick up. They're fascinating. It's kind of like a lemonade stand in a bag. And it helps you. All you need to provide is the table and ice, of course, and I guess the water technically. But you get the lemonade mix, and you get a stand that says lemonade stand, and it's just this coolest little kit that you can pick up through the facts people and set up a lemonade stand and help raise funds. And the other way, of course, is you can sponsor somebody or you can donate. But we're going to talk with Facts later on in the program about their Lemonade Day coming up. So again, kind of summer stuff to talk about, events, getting out. This morning at 11 o'clock, we'll have our Friday 4 panel. And we'll get together and talk about some of the biggest topics of the week. And then, of course, at noon, it's our 12 o'clock Talkback Hour, where we open up the phones entirely to you. That's our day. Hope you can be part of it, or all of it, that you join us for here on 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Here's special guest host, Larry Fedoric.
Lots to talk about event-wise on the program today. We're going to talk about the annual RedDAY walk to support preventative cardiac health, and that's in preventive cardiac care. We're going to be talking about that after 10 o'clock this morning. That event is actually on the 6th. Also, Lemonade Days on the 6th, I believe, and that's for FACTS, the Family and Children Services Foundation. And those are all over Canada, but the one in Waterloo is coming up on Saturday, so we'll talk about that and how to set up a lemonade stand. And they can actually provide a lemonade stand kit for you. So we get lots of stuff. But even suited in that, coming up Monday is an event I want to talk about, and it is the Grand River Pride flag raising. And I know there's also other events and festival coming up a little bit later in June. But I want to talk about this Monday flag raising because it's very interesting. They're trying something they've never tried before. Joining us are the co-founders of Grand River Pride, Eric and Brian Casarano Bolton. Good morning, Eric and Brian. How are you?
Good morning. We're doing well, thanks.
This is a very interesting thing. You've never tried it before because it's not, say, a normal flag raising for Pride Week or Pride Month or anything. But you will be hoisting a Pride flag at some point. But tell me about this event on Monday evening. Well, it starts at 5:30.
Yeah, so we've done a flag raising every year. Our first couple happened at City Hall. And just over the course of the past couple years and some of the events that have happened, we decided we wanted to do something sort of away from City Hall and do something on our own terms. And so last year we came up with the idea of hanging the Pride flag off of the top of one of the buildings. And so there's a building on Water Street, right next to the intersection of Water and Main, that has our Pride flag high above the streets where we have our big festival. But this year, the thing that was kind of, it was just sort of a part of the experience last year is that we couldn't have community members raising the flag. That's something that we'd always done before. And so this year, same thing. We can't put somebody on the top of the building to raise the flag themselves. So we decided, let's get the community to build a flag. And so we created a little project, and what we're going to do on Monday with the help of all of our participants, all the people who show up, is we're going to create our own version of the flag. We're going to do it with ribbons and create sort of a series of pieces that will be hung from the lamp posts all the way down the Main Street and Promenade, so that when we have our festival on June 13th, our big street party, we'll actually have a community created flag hanging from the flag posts or from the lamp posts.
So these are pieces now that have been prepared, or you will be preparing them?
They'll be
where the
It'll
pieces
be
come
something
from?
where everyone will have the opportunity to make a bow that will go onto these pieces. So
okay.
We've got sort of materials prepared, but we'll need everyone's help actually putting the pieces together so that we can assemble them and hang them.
Yeah.
So this event is on Monday, starts at 5:30. So just to kind of, do you show up at 5:30 and help to make the various pieces or segments, or do you show up early and then start to raise them at 5:30? What time should people be there?
So at 5:30, we're going to have just a few words to say to welcome everybody to the event, and then we're going to have people starting to make their bows and create the project. Because of the height of where these are going to go, we're going to be using a local organization to help us hoist them, and we'll do that overnight so that it's safe for everyone while we're doing it. I don't need people going up on ladders in the middle of the day and trying to install them. We'll get them installed properly.
Right. Now, is the goal to resemble something that looks like a pride flag, or totally open, be creative? What's the parameter? Is there any? Are there any?
I think it's more so to have everybody doing something together that we can put up together. When I think about how I envision this sort of being on the posts, there'll be these ribbons waving through the street. And so I think that it'll have the symbol of a flag. We'll still have our proper flag hanging from the top of the building again on a flagpole in the traditional sense. But this will give us something that will be community made, community built, and will represent all of us. And it'll be something that people will be able to see for the 2 weeks leading up to Pride, but then also on the Pride Festival Day.
That sounds terrific. And I probably shouldn't bring this up, but too late. I said it out loud. I'm going to do it. The traditional flag that's going up, which flag is that? Is that the new and latest iteration of the Pride flag?
It is the Progress flag. So we have,
Right.
yeah. So we have, there's photos and videos from last year's flag raising on the Grand River Pride Instagram and Facebook, where you can see what we did last year, and it'll be that flag again.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, because I'm a fan of the original rainbow flag. And it's a debate we don't have to have, and I'm just throwing in my thing. I love the rainbow flag. I always felt that, though I love the Progress flag, it's great. I always thought I love the simplicity of the rainbow flag, I guess. Well, but I understand about the inclusion and everything. So I understand why the flag changed, but
it's also had different iterations. Like the original Pride flag had 8 colors on it. 8 colors, I think. There was a few other colors that were eventually removed simply because it was too hard for people to source all the colors and make all the pieces, and they wanted something to be a little bit more simple. But I think the new flag, the Progress flag, shows that, as we fight for the rights of all individuals, that needs to represent all people, and having a flag that has more colors and more people represented, I think is kind of a beautiful message. And I think it's the whole point of what Pride is all about. Everyone's welcome. Everybody should be represented, and having more to it, I think, is a welcome thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that. I guess I just, keep it simple was always my thing, and I'm looking. But if you're in any of the communities and your inclusion is there, you're part of the flag. I think that's also a good thing. I get what you're saying, absolutely.
Yeah.
Tell me about you and Grand River Pride. I mean, the organization. Is this something that the two of you really helped grow and start?
We did. It was 4 years ago. And I guess we're in year 4. Wow. We're business owners downtown Cambridge, and we're both part of the queer family. And we have a lot of friends locally who are also business owners who are part of the Pride community. And we sort of realized, why is there not really a festival or events or programming or anything really going on? There were the odd event here and there that were smaller in partnership with restaurants or breweries or things like that, but there wasn't really main public events. And so we decided with a couple friends, let's just start organizing some events. And then it's sort of very quickly evolved, and very quickly the community in the city was like, this needs to be a thing. And so then we decided to start organizing Cambridge's first Pride Festival. And then that has grown each year, and we decided to call it Grand River Pride because we wanted to be able to also support and impact the communities around us that are maybe smaller and don't have programming as much, and we could kind of look to support townships and communities all along the Grand River watershed. So we've gradually expanded what we do and who we can support and how we can fundraise to help out. Like we run Air Pride and we contribute to Woolwich Pride, and we're gradually being able to support other groups that are trying to be represented and get programming going. So, but then our big champion flagship event is Cambridge Pride, and that's where we put our initial energy into, but then as we can, we support beyond that.
Right now, and in building this, by the way, sorry to interrupt. In building this, did you get support also to start from other more established groups as you started?
We've had sponsorships from a bunch of different businesses. We haven't had a whole bunch of support municipally, but we have had a lot of individuals and businesses supporting us, which has been really, really great. And our champion leading partner has been Sun Life Financial.
Yeah, most of our fundraising is grassroots. So it's all local organizations. Most of our sponsors come in at sort of our more accessible pricing for things. And it's truly just local businesses and local people who really want to see events happening. Any surplus that we have goes back to other community organizations. Like we really, the whole mission of it is more events, more places where we can just sort of gather together and celebrate queer stories. And so any sort of donations or contributions, sponsorships, merch sales, any of that stuff that we have, all of it kind of goes back to being able to have more events from all these organizations.
And interested parties could contact you online initially and then go from there?
Yeah, grandriverpride.ca or hello@grandriverpride.ca is our email address. And we're happy to provide information. Even just if you have events that you're going to be doing, there's some really cool partnerships that we can do to help bring attention to that.
So let's recap here. Let's talk first of the event on Monday, which is the making of, the building of this flag. We're calling it a flag, but it's going to be more like a banner, I guess, sort of along the way, right?
It's essentially decorations for the street, but we're going to call it our flag.
Yeah,
that is fine, and that starts at 5:30. Materials there, just basically show up and support and help out.
Yeah,
that's right.
We hope families come and kids can even help create. It's very simple project. Anyone can be a part of it.
We're just tying boats.
It's just tied, yeah. And then it'll be right at Lower Main Street, so on the Main Street Promenade between Water Street and Ainsley Street. So anyone can. It's pedestrian space, so people can just show up. And then it's also kind of paving the way for our big street party festival, Cambridge Pride, on June 13th.
June 13th. So it'll be up until the 13th and maybe beyond, but that big festival is on the 13th. And what's planned for that in the festival? Give us some highlights there of what people can go and experience.
There's so much planned. Every year this grows, and we're really, really excited. So we put a big stage in the intersection of Water Street and Main Street, right at the foot of the archway bridge. And we have bands from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m., drag performances. We have a huge market.
There's going to be over 60 vendors this year in our market, food trucks. We have an aerialist that's going to be there. We have our decorations every year for the stage are sponsored by a business locally called Productions and Events. They have 17,000 biodegradable balloons that they are going to be decorating our street with for the festival.
Oh, wow.
It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be a really, really cool event. We get people from all over Ontario coming for it. We even a couple of years ago had some folks from Texas who ended up moving here because of their experience. It's a really, really cool community vibe. It's great. It's really fun. Somebody's getting married at Pride this year.
Yep.
It's going to be a fun day.
It's very, very fun. And it's historically very much a community family time. We really think it represents the people of Cambridge and the surrounding area in a really, really wholesome, lovely family way. And it's so positive. And every time we walk away like floating, it's so uplifting.
Isn't that great? And my thing lately has been get your face out of the screen and get somewhere where there's people in your community and mingle and do things with other real live people.
Lots of opportunity for it. We have 24 events that are going to be in the calendar for all this. Everything from movie night to workouts, a run, a cycling event. There's drag events. There's a really cool one. It's a TED Talk called Liquid Lead, where it's going to be accompanied by the Kitchener Symphony. Liquid leading is the concept of if you are dancing traditionally, it's man and woman. So you have one person leading, but in a same-sex couple, who leads? And so this TED Talk will help you to learn that. And then there will be a workshop for being able to liquid lead and being able to dance with your same-sex partner. And it's a free event, and the music will be provided by the Kitchener Symphony.
Mm-hmm. That's a great, first of all, a great question. Great TED Talk, sounds like.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. So give us the website again so people can check all these things out you talked about.
Yeah, grandriverpride.ca. And we're also very active on Instagram and Facebook. And people could also message us anytime at hello@grandriverpride.ca. But all of our events are posted and listed, and so people could kind of see what's for them and what they would like to go to. And we try to make them all as accessible and open as possible. So there should be something for everyone in there.
Sounds great. Thank you for your time today. All the best, guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great to chat with you. Thanks so much.
You as well. Eric and Brian Casarano Bolton, Grand River Pride. They are the co-founders of Grand River Pride. And wow, so much there to take in. But I'll tell you this, let's just focus on this next thing, which is Monday at Lower Main Street Promenade. We're tying bows. We're tying bows, as they say, but it's kind of the making of what they're going to call a flag, inventive thing that's going to be there until the 13th for the big festival. So, and it's Monday, starts at 5:30. This is 570 News Radio. We're also on Rogers TV.
The new flag, the progress flag, shows that as we fight for the rights of all individuals, that means that needs to represent all people. And having a flag that has more colors and more people represented, I think, is kind of a beautiful message. And I think it's the whole point of what Pride is all about. Everyone's welcome. Everybody should be represented. And having more to it, I think, is a welcome thing.
Our guests from Grand River Pride, Eric and Brian Casarano Bolton, just moments ago. They are the co-founders of Grand River Pride. And I unfortunately brought in the debate about the current progress flag, the pride flag, that I actually prefer the rainbow flag. And I totally understand the inclusion and everything, but at some point, the flag for me got too complicated. Now, I'm not part of the pride community, so I'm just an outside kind of marketing guy. I'm not even a marketing guy. It's just something I'm interested in. On the outside looking in, going, I kind of like that older flag. It just the simple rainbow flag seems simpler to me. So I didn't mean to bring that up with the guys, but I just thought, well, I got somebody who works with the Pride organization. I'm going to ask directly. It's like, what about a simpler flag? And they're great points. Anyway, and you heard them there. So nevertheless, to get back to why they were with us, is Grand River Pride is having that flag making, if you will. What they'll have their regular Pride Progress flag up for the festival coming up on June 13th. That'll be up in anticipation of that. But they thought, why don't we have a flag that is, and it's not going to end up looking like a flag. It's going to be basically bows and ribbons hanging along part of a street. So it's more of a banner, but they're calling it a sort of a community-made flag. And if you want to be part of that, you don't have to bring any materials or anything. They'll have all that there. And you show up on Monday at the Lower Main Street Promenade and help out and just be part of the event for, I think they're going to go for about an hour or so and get everything done. And then, and as they said, you don't have to climb ladders or anything. They will take care of getting all the stuff hung up there. And then it's going to be there right up until the 13th for the big festival, grandriverpride.ca, if you would like to know more. We have Lemonade Day to talk about still on the program. That's not this coming weekend. It's next weekend. Bookfest is this weekend, and it's tomorrow. And we're going to be talking about that on the show coming up after 10 o'clock. And next on the program, we're going to talk about, and again, this is next weekend, but get you all set up for it and get you involved in participating or maybe just even helping and donating. Annual RedDAY to support preventative cardiac care in the Waterloo region. And we're going to talk to someone who's involved in that coming up. And this is, by the way, Dr. Heather Warren coming up. Is not only Waterloo Regional Health Network vice president and academic consultant, she also practices. She also practices medicine. So she not only sort of has the overall view, but she sees cases day to day. So I want to talk a little bit about preventative cardiac care, health, or heart health, I guess is the term I'm looking for. So that's coming up next. I'm Larry Fedoruk in for Mike Farwell. This is 570 News Radio, and we're on Rogers TV.
Here's special guest host, Larry Fedoruk.
Back to the program. Lots to talk about today. Don't forget at 11 o'clock, it'll be our Friday 4 panel. Joined by our guest to talk about some of the top stories of the week. And then if you've been itching to chime in on something this week, well, your opportunity every weekday, but Fridays always extra fun, is the 12 o'clock news. Okay, what is it, Larry? 12 o'clock Talkback Hour. Thank you. 12 o'clock Talkback Hour between noon and 1, where we open it up to you, your calls, your topics, your ideas, your thoughts. So all that and more coming up on the program. Annual RedDAY is coming up to support preventative cardiac care in Waterloo Region, and it's on the 6th. So we want to get you all prepped for that and get you involved in that. Joining us to talk more about that, the Vice President of Medical and Academic Affairs for Waterloo Regional Health Network, Dr. Heather Warren, is joining us. Good morning, Dr. Warren. There I have Dr. Warren now. Dr. Heather Warren. Good morning, Dr. Warren.
Good morning, Larry. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. Obviously want to talk about RedDAY and some particulars and getting people involved in that. But I first want to talk about the cause here, that why we have RedDAY events going, and that's the preventative cardiac care. You're a doctor. You have executive duties here in the network, but you also have a practice, correct?
Yes, I do. I'm also a cardiologist within the Regional Cardiac Care Center.
So this is what I want to talk about. Are we the phrase we always hear is heart health. Is that what we're talking about when we talk about preventative care?
Absolutely. So the RedDAY event, it actually goes back quite a long ways. It started back in 2012 with a partnership with St. Mary's General Hospital at the time and Manulife. We partnered with the Manulife LPGA Classic, which is a golf tournament that raised money for the Cardiac Care Center here locally, and specifically for women's health, cardiac health at that time. That relationship grew, and we've remained with our wonderful partner with Manulife since 2012 with our annual RedDAY event, which raises money for cardiac care in the region. Since 2012, through the matching of donations with Manulife, we've been able to contribute collectively $4 million towards cardiac care in our region. Over the past couple of years, we've really focused our attention on preventative care. We used to say that the best heart attack was the one that got to the hospital quick. We've changed our tune now. The best heart attack is the one that we prevent from happening in the first place. And Manulife, our partner, is equally passionate about preventative care as we are. So it was a great synergy. And we started up a Prevent clinic. And Prevent stands for prevention, not events. It's run out of the cardiac rehab program of Waterloo Regional Health Network. And what it focuses on is catching people with risk factors for heart disease, but who have not yet developed heart disease. So we can actually prevent those cardiac events before they start. It's really important to talk about prevention because up to 80% of premature or early heart disease is actually preventable through early identification of risk factors, healthy lifestyle choices, better diet, etc. And so this clinic really has been a wonderful resource to the families in our community to really make them healthier and keep them healthier.
80%. I'm surprised at that number. Wow, that is hopeful, I guess, to hear a number like that. That so many of them are preventable. Yeah. So what are we looking at? Are we looking at? I mean, has the ability to diagnose improved over the years? Is that part of the way we're able to look at people?
Yeah, for sure. There's been a tremendous amount of research done in early identification of risk factors, modifying, preventable risk factors such as high blood pressure, high cholesterol. Screening earlier and intervening earlier to either control or prevent diabetes. Obviously, a lot of work done on smoking cessation and just keeping people from starting smoking in the first place. But the other component is identification of family history, because a lot of early onset heart disease can run in families. Sometimes through those other diseases like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and diabetes, but sometimes in the absence of those. And so talking about risk, getting shows like yours, allowing us to talk openly about prevention and having those conversations so that families will talk about their risk, encouraging people to talk to their family doctors or primary care providers to identify their risk early so it can be modified. And because heart disease doesn't have to be a certainty for those people in those families where it does run, we can intervene early enough to prevent it.
I hear in general, overall medicine, more talk lately about preventative care, preventative attention, and in some ways it's attention to your health and trying to stay healthy. So in general terms, but in cardiac, you mentioned risk factors, because I was reading one of the stories, and that's the wonderful thing about RedDAY is people volunteer their stories about a woman who had a heart attack at 40, in her 40s. Yes. And was able to recover and live well, but part of her problem or issue was hereditary, in the family risk factors. So that's an important part of it. You're right.
No, absolutely. And especially when it comes to women's heart health, because quite often women can underestimate what their risk is. At the end of the day, heart disease claims more women in Canada than the top 3 cancers combined. But we don't generally think of it as being a women's health issue as well. And so the Prevent Clinic has been really, supportive of getting those women identified and having their risk factors modified so that they don't face that fate that runs in their families of developing heart disease at a young age.
So how can people get involved in RedDAY? I guess the main event is the walk in support of care?
Yeah, so the RedDAY, what's new this year is the RedDAY Walk, the Manulife RedDAY Walk. So we're really excited about that event. There's still a lot of radio work being done that day. We're going to talk a lot about heart health and all aspects of heart health throughout the day. There's going to be several events throughout the hospitals as well as in Uptown Waterloo. But really capping it all off is the new event this year, which is the Manulife RedDAY Walk. It starts at 10 a.m. and starts at Uptown Waterloo Square on Saturday, June 6th. You can register a team at redday.ca. and raise money. And the really exciting thing is, once again, because of the generosity and passion for preventative care that Manulife shares with us, they're generously matching donations up to $200,000 again this year to support preventative cardiac care in our region.
Isn't that terrific? Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because you mentioned the early relationship with Manulife, and they've been there and stuck through and matching donations this year. That is terrific. So it's still early enough where people can register to walk and get their sponsors or what have you.
Yeah. And if you can't join us on that day, I know this is a busy time of year, especially for families, but if you can't join us on this day, you can still make a donation through RedDAY.ca, and it will still be matched by Manulife. And those donations are available to be made now and will be through the next couple of weeks. And we're really excited to put that money to good use up at the Prevent Clinic and get more people in our community, prevent them from going down the path for heart disease.
Well said. And you talk about a busy time for people and families, but these are things you can do as a family, and events that you can get out at, and make it part of your summer. It's just great.
Oh, for sure. We do see a lot of families there, and it is a really fun environment. And so we look forward to seeing, all comers from the community there to celebrate a healthy Waterloo Region and to celebrate this initiative in particular.
Well, Dr. Warren, thank you so much. And to your health, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much, Larry. My pleasure.
Dr. Heather Warren is Vice President of Medical and Academic Affairs at the Waterloo Regional Health Network. She's also a cardiologist. She also has a practice. So not only involved in the overall and the big pictures and, as I said, executive decisions and roles that she has, but she's also there working on issues of cardiac health. So it is especially, and I can speak to this, because I take a statin and I take blood pressure pills. And I never thought I'd have to do the statin. Was just automatic, been on it for years, because my doctor said, yeah, your cholesterol is really good, but they've changed the parameters now. So where I thought your cholesterol was good, now they say it should be this. So we'll give you this statin to kind of lower it a bit. So I'm on that. And then the blood pressure thing just came up in the last 3 or 4 years. Because I've always kind of had high blood pressure. I have high blood pressure, but it's only slightly high. Don't worry about it. And that's always been something I knew until the doctor said, you have your blood, and I hadn't had a check for a while, frankly. So that's bad right there. But anyway, I was having a check, and he said, it's a little high. And I'm like, yeah, I know. All my life I've heard that. He goes, no, it's a little higher than that. So there's two things right there that people can do easily is get that checked and then go beyond that, because that's a contributing factor to heart problems. So there's two easy things you can do. Anyway, back to the actual RedDAY event. RedDAY is June the 6th, and a lot of events going on, but it culminates in the big walk. So if you go to redday.ca and register and just make a donation. If you don't feel you can come out to the event or sponsor or walk and get sponsors, sponsor somebody else, make a donation, be a terrific thing. And we'll be a healthy Waterloo and KW in general. All right? redday.ca. I'm Larry Fedorikin for Mike Farwell. This is 570 News Radio and on Rogers TV. Larry Fedoric in for Mike Farwell. Also being on Monday. I was talking to Mike Farwell yesterday about the Memorial Cup, obviously, and the Rangers and all that stuff. Tonight's game in the Memorial Cup, Everett and Chicoutimi, to figure out who's going to play the Rangers on Sunday. And one of the things, because we had Dan Liebold on about the trainer, equipment manager, about packing up and moving out. And Dan said to me, we were talking about after the game, how they fly out almost immediately after the game, right? So I didn't know that. And so I asked Mike Farwell about it yesterday. I said, so right after the game, you guys are gone. And he tells me the story of how this one time he didn't name names. He said many years ago, the losing team somewhere in an earlier round of the Memorial Cup, I guess maybe in the semifinal, they lost. And so the team went out on the town and had a party. And apparently, with all the fans around and the actual players themselves instigating fans and all of them together, the town was not the better for the celebration that they had after they lost. So they made a rule in the Memorial Cup. I had no idea about this. Isn't this interesting? That when you lose in the Memorial Cup, no matter what, when you're out, except for the home team, of course, because the home team gets a bye into the cup, you have to leave. You have to leave. You're done. And this includes the finals. Now, fans still remain. Fans don't have to leave town. So I guess the fans could take to the streets and cause trouble. But unless it's the home, like, for example, if a cup or a series gets won in a city and the people of that city trash the city, then it's a problem. But like when you have the Memorial Cup, you usually have fans from 3-4 different cities. So it's not necessarily one big crowd that's going to go downtown and turn over taxi cabs, or whatever terrible things people do. But apparently one time it was done, and it wasn't, I don't know how bad it was, but it was bad enough to where the hockey league, Canadian Hockey League, made up of the Q, the OHL, the WHL, said, okay, you leave town. So interestingly, tonight, after the Everett and Chicoutimi game, whoever loses leaves town within a couple of hours. You got a couple hours to get out of town, mister. Pack up your bags. And as we know, Everett took a bus to Kelowna because they're close enough in North Washington State to be able to get to Kelowna by bus. So they'll get on their bus and go home if they lose. If Chicoutimi loses, they get on a plane and they're flying home. So they'll be at home watching the game on Sunday if they lose Chicoutimi. So, and the same case with the final game. So at the end of the game Sunday, they'll have about 3 hours to basically celebrate on the ice, skate around with the cup and do all that stuff, dressing room, celebrate, all that, do the interviews, do the things, and then pack up and go. And the guy that's actually probably not celebrating that much is actually Dan Liebold, because he's, he can maybe hoist a beverage quickly, but otherwise he's got to get all that equipment back onto a truck and get it to the plane and make sure it's all coming back home with us. So interesting when you look at behind the scenes people and all the stuff and all the contributors that there are to this event. So after they leave late Sunday, it'll be a sort of an overnight flight and a late coming in and all that kind of stuff. So just to make it simpler and just more humane for our friend Mike Farwell, I'm going to be in on Monday, hopefully celebrating with you on this show on Monday. And then Mike will be back on Tuesday. By the way, off topic slightly, has anyone seen the Blue Origin rocket explosion of last night in Cocoa Beach, Florida? Man, this is incredible. Nobody hurt. Everybody accounted for. The interesting thing was that this it wasn't even a launch. It was not supposed to go anywhere. The rocket was simply supposed to be, and it's Blue Origin, which is the Bezos one. SpaceX is Musk. And, of course, Branson still has his, I don't even know what it was called. What was it called? Virgin something space? Or I can't remember what his thing was called. He's kind of out of it in the practical sense. And because Musk and Bezos. Well, Bezos American, Musk is pseudo-American. So they're the ones really working with NASA. It's really a first of its kind where NASA, in all the years that we've followed Geminis and Apollos and all the different missions, the space station and the space shuttles, all that NASA stuff, they've always used private industry for various components and parts of their projects. But this now marks the first time where private space industry, like these billionaires who are into space and orbiting companies like SpaceX and Blue Orbit, are involved and going to be part of NASA. So what this means, interestingly, and if you haven't seen it, check it out. Go find it on YouTube or what have you. Man, I've never seen an explosion. And really, if you think about a launch of a rocket, they call it a controlled explosion. It's all a hope for the best. That's why you see the rockets look so massive. All those 4 or 5 rocket-looking things around the rocket, those are fuel tanks, if we want to remember, and they light them up and kaboom, and hopefully that means the rocket goes up. Yesterday in Cocoa Beach, Florida, it all went up. Oh my goodness, what an explosion! I haven't seen anything like it. It's just incredible. And again, it was supposed to be an engine test. It wasn't supposed to be a launch. We'll just fire up the engines. And it destroyed, obviously, everything, including much of the launch pad, which now has to be in repairs, and now puts Blue Orbit's. This was a crucial test to see how Blue Orbit could contribute to the next Artemis mission, which is the mission to the moon. And it looks now like Blue Orbit is probably out. It's because to say, oh, it's a mistake, we can fix it, that's not something you do in back to the drawing board, we'll be back in a week. No, it's years, 5-6 years that they would have to guarantee that this will never happen again. And that's just out of the Artemis timeline. So check out the explosion. It is something to see. Coming up next on the program, we're going to talk about, did I mistime something here? Anyway, I'm not sure what we're going to get to next, but we'll be back. This is 570 News Radio.
Here's special guest host, Larry Fedoruk.
Welcome back. It is the Mike Farwell Show. I am Larry Fedoruk. Apparently unable to read his schedule, just so you know, and this means more to me than to you, I'm sure, but we were supposed to have Vanessa on to talk about Bookfest at 10:15, and I somehow misread the schedule, even though I've had it for hours now and read it many times. I misread it, and so thankfully Vanessa is going to join us in a few more minutes, and in about 10 minutes, and we'll talk more about Bookfest, which is happening tomorrow in Waterloo, and it's a fantastic event, and we're going to get all the details for you to get out in the park to Bookfest, but that's coming up in minutes. Right now I'm talking about an event that you can get set up for still because it's coming up next weekend, but it's always a great event. It's Lemonade Day. Lemonade stands will be popping up all over Waterloo Region to support the Family and Children's Services Foundation. The Family and Services Foundation Executive Director is Jill Stoddard, who joins us now to talk about that. Hello, Jill.
Hi, Larry. How are you this morning?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, thanks.
This is coming up. Lemonade Day is the 6th.
Yep, we're having the stands on the 6th, and actually there'll be stands throughout the summer if people can't do their stand on the 6th. So, yeah, we're quite excited about it. It's a day sponsored by Activa, and it's a fun community event where kids, families, businesses across the region set up lemonade stands to raise funds, and 100% of these proceeds stay in our community to send local kids to camp and other recreational activities this summer.
That is an important stat right there. 100% of the funds. Now, is it people, kids, and families set up these lemonade stands from the kits that you provide, or do they set up their own? How does it work?
Yeah, we actually give you everything. All you have to do is add water and enthusiasm. So we'll give you the stand, which has been made by our friends and sponsors at Activa. We'll give you the lemonade, the cups, the pitchers, signage. You'll be able to have your own fundraising page, and we'll have great prizes for both the stands that raise the most money and also people who get really creative and decorate their stands across the region.
It seems to me you even get a little jar for the funds, I think.
Yes, we do. We even give you a donation jar and a QR code if people don't want to pay cash.
Oh my gosh, that's brilliant? Of course,
Yeah.
Of course you can. Because so many people don't carry cash. Brilliant, good move. And
Yeah,
I was watching a little demo video. I think it was from last year, of unpacking the kit and how to put it together, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's great. The stands have been, as I said, made by our partners at Activa. They prepared all the signs, all the stands. That we give you a video on how to put it together. We give you a whole package of everything that you need. So it couldn't be simpler. As I said, all you have to do is add water and enthusiasm.
And the video also said, if you want to add some ice, that's up to you as well. But otherwise, it's right there. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was actually looking at the website, and I was looking at the FAQs, and I went, well, there's everything I wanted to know. There's every question I could ask, so I could just run through the FAQs. But we've gone through them, some of them already. So it's Waterloo Public Square. Sorry, I got the wrong thing here, but it's all over wherever you want to be. If you go do you start at the website and
Yeah, if you want to go to www.faxfoundation.com/lemonade day, there's still time to register your stand. All you have to do is sign up, and then we'll follow up with an email and get you all the information you need. If you're somebody who wants to get out and about next Saturday and buy some lemonade to support this fundraiser, we'll have a map on our website that shows you where all the stands are across the region. I think we're sitting at about 50. Our goal is to try to get to 100 stands by next Saturday. So anybody with kids, grandkids, a family business, neighborhood, having a garage sale, having a ball tournament, anything you want, just reach out and we'll give you everything you need to have a lemonade stand and help raise money for local kids.
How do businesses get involved, or can they? Do they sponsor an individual stand, or just to help out?
They can have a stand in front of their business. They can get some of their employees, maybe some of their kids, grandkids, as I said, any high school students out there needing volunteer hours. So they can do their stands in front of their business, in their stores, anywhere they really want. Same process. You just go to our website, fill out the application, and then we'll take care of helping you get everything else you need.
When I was also searching some information on this, I didn't realize that it goes on lots of locations across this province and country. So it's pretty cool. This is a big summer event.
Yeah, well, we're trying. There's usually a child welfare organization in each community, and the foundations attached to those. There's a few of us, Grand Erie, Niagara. We're all participating in the same event. So, yeah, if you're not from the Waterloo region and you're out and about this weekend, you might see some of these stands in other communities. And again, those funds stay in those communities to help those local kids get to camp.
It's terrific. And what did you mean? You said there might be several throughout the summer, so this is just kind of the first of many?
Yeah, it's our kickoff day. So June 6th is what we call Lemonade Day. So I think we have 50 stands that will actually be happening on Saturday. But if you're doing something you can't do it on Saturday and you want to do it at another time throughout the summer, we have several daycares who will be doing their stands on different days throughout the summer. We'll probably be at the big OBA baseball championships, you've got a golf tournament you want something set up, or you've got a garage sale, or you've got an event happening, and you think a lemonade stand would be a big hit, then just reach out to us. Again, you don't have to do it next Saturday. You can do it anytime throughout the summer.
I imagine you have some repeat proprietors, if you will, people who've done stands before and keep at it every year.
Yes, absolutely. This is our third year. So, yeah, we've definitely have some families, neighborhoods, some businesses who had just a blast doing it in the past, and they've signed up to do it again. So we're really thrilled, and we're also hoping to get lots of new people this year.
So go over again. The kit is everything you need to do. It's the stand, it's the signage, it's even the lemonade. It's the kit is everything.
We give you all you need. You do need a table, but we give you the stand, the poles, the sign, the QR codes, the pitcher, the cups, the lemonade, the instructions on how to put your stand together. A donation jar, and then also a QR code and signage for your sign, and you can create your own fundraising page on Canada Helps to help raise that money, because the first 10 stands that raise $1,000, those names will be entered into our draw to win Ed Sheeran tickets this summer. So there's some real incentive for families and communities to get together and raise some good money here.
I was going to ask, when somebody sets up the stand, a family and the kids get it all together and they set it up, is there a recommended charge for a glass of lemonade, or how does that work?
No, we really leave that up to donation. So whether it's, lots of people pay like $5, but you could give, $1, you could give $5, you give $25, whatever donation amount you want. People are able to just give what they can.
That sounds great. And the website again?
www.facsfoundation.com, and then just look for our lemonade.
Yeah. I raise my glass to you. Cheers. This sounds great. Thank you very much for your time today, Jill.
Great. Thank you so much for having us on, and thank you again for this amazing region and all the support they've given us. So look forward to next Saturday.
You bet. Jill Stoddard, Executive Director of FACS Foundation, the Family and Children's Services, and Lemonade Day. And I guess I didn't realize that there's many of them that they can do this a lot, but the big kickoff is Lemonade Day, which is Saturday, June the 6th. So contact them. And it really is amazing to see this lemonade stand kit in a bag, basically, and how it unfolds and looks really cool when you set it up. You need the table, approximately like maybe a 3x6, 4x8 kind of table thing. And it works on a lot of different tables. You set that up, add some water because you get the lemonade and everything else. And you've got a lemonade stand and you're raising valuable funds for family and children services. Okay, the Bookfest. This is something we can do tomorrow together in the region. We'll find out more about that here on 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Larry Fedoruk in for Mike Farwell. Bookfest is returning to Uptown Waterloo this weekend. We're going to find out more about it right now with the lead organizer for Bookfest. Joining us is Vanessa Ricci-Thode. Good morning, Vanessa.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for sticking around. First of all, Vanessa was supposed to be on half an hour ago. I messed up the schedule, so thank you for rescheduling and sticking around for us. I sure appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh, no worries. I appreciate being on the show.
So when and where? It's tomorrow, and give us some of the details of Bookfest.
For sure. So tomorrow we'll be at Waterloo Town Square. That's Uptown Waterloo, right in front of the shops. We'll be set up with dozens and dozens of local authors. It runs from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. There will be a children's story hour from 2:30 to 3:30 where our picture book authors are going to be reading. So it's a great time to bring the kids out. Lots of range of books for everybody. We've got books for kids and tweens and teens and adults, nonfiction, fiction, poetry, a little bit of everything. It's going to be fun.
There's nothing like reading a book, physical book, having it in your hands and reading a book. And I'm glad to hear about the children's readings too, because it's it's great to get kids into it early.
Yes, yes, definitely. At every stage of life, it's great to have a book that you love, a book that you can look back on that you remember from when you were a kid, when you were a teen, having favorites at different stages.
And it's all free, by the way. We should mention that.
Yes, absolutely free. The books aren't free, but
No.
chatting with the authors and coming to listen to the readings is completely free to be there.
I was mentioning it earlier because I've been at these events, hearing an author. There's something about hearing an author read from their work that's kind of special to me, because so often these people are not necessarily public speakers or in any way. They're writers. It's a solitary line of work, and here they are in public reading from their book, and you'll have a lot of readings tomorrow.
Yes, we're going to have a lot of readings. It'll be going pretty much straight from 2:30 when the kids' books authors start till about the end at 8. And yeah, they tend to be very solitary. Most are introverts. And so when we get together, it's very special because, as you said, it's a very solitary thing. So we love having events like this where authors can meet each other and they can meet the readers. And I know, especially for the kids, it's very exciting for them to be, oh my goodness, this is the person who wrote this book. There's something magical about it.
It is, yeah. And now the books aren't free, so this means that the books will be available for purchase if you hear something, see something you like.
That's correct. Yes. I know some authors will be there with little sheets where you can get their ebooks, but for the most part, it will be physical copies of books, and the authors are happy to sign them if you'd like that. And of course, books make great gifts.
Um, how many authors? I mean, you're going all day, so
Yes, so there will be, I don't have the exact number. I think it's close to 50 to 60 authors will be
wow.
there selling books, and community organizers as well. So the community edition will be there, Studio Comics will be there. In the past, we've had the New Quarterly and Old Goat Books. So we're very much into the community and just showcasing what Waterloo Region has to offer in terms of literary talent, because we have such a strong literary community here.
Yeah. I mean, out of the approximately 50, are they all local, or most of them local?
Everybody who participates has some kind of connection to Waterloo Region. Most of them do live here. Some of them work here. Some of them went to school here. Some of them grew up here. That's one of the things that it's a juried event. So my team and I, we go through everything and make sure, everybody who's here is local or has a local connection like that.
And there's no restriction per se on what kind of book it is. It could be any kind of story. It's a variety of stories and things in the books.
That is correct. Yes. Our only the only thing we don't allow is AI generated content. Everything has to be human created. But there will be zines there. There will be comics. There will be graphic art. There will be there's going to be some romance authors, some kids authors, poets. There's just everything.
How long have you done Bookfest, Vanessa?
This is the 5th year.
Wow. It's interesting because we're battling an electronic generation, a couple of them now.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I'm all about the books and the real books. And good for you. I think it's terrific. And obviously you still get people coming out. So there's more people like us out there.
Yes, yeah. People who love books are still very enthusiastic about it. And I have noticed a resurgence in the love of print books. And I think it is a bit of that digital pushback. So there will be tons of paper books for people to pick up tomorrow.
And, knock on wood and all that stuff, the weather's cooperating. So it should be a great day to be out.
Yes, it looks like it's going to be fantastic. Nice and sunny, not cold, not rainy. I'm so glad the weather has taken a turn for the better.
Yeah. I'm sure as an event planner, yeah, you always think about that when you're out somewhere in the public square in the Waterloo Town Square. Tomorrow from 2 till 8, it is free to just show up and be part of it and listen to the readings and all that, and perhaps help support local authors by buying one or two of the books. This sounds like a terrific day. Thank you so much, Vanessa. And again, thank you for rescheduling quickly.
No worries. Thank you so much again for having me.
You bet. Vanessa Ricci-Thode is a lead organizer for Bookfest, which runs in Uptown Waterloo tomorrow. Again, 2 to 8, right at the town square by the shops, and free to show up, free admission, and very family friendly. And right near the beginning, 2 and 2:30, a lot of kids' book readings, the picture book readings. I'm gonna date myself here, but I always date myself when I'm talking on the show. It's obvious that I'm older. And I remember some of the kids' shows I watched on CBC as a kid, and one of them was certainly Friendly Giant. But one of the things they did on that show and many shows, I'm trying to think if Mr. Rogers did it or not. But I see it was American. I didn't watch Mr. Rogers as much, not because it was American, because I don't think we got it as often. Anyway, they would read a book. They would read a book on television. And for younger kids, it would be a picture book that Friendly used to read, and it was just a picture. And I think we did it in class as well in the younger grades. I didn't go to a kindergarten per se, but because my mom's a grade 1 teacher, so I used to, instead of getting a daycare worker or something, I used to just hang at school with her. She used to take me to school and sit in the corner and give me some crayons. And so I kind of had a kindergarten, but even in school, in early grades, read a book, open a book, look at the pictures, read the story, point at the pictures. It's just such a great basic experience. So if you want to get there for that, that's at 2 o'clock, 2 to 2:30. They'll have some picture book, storybooks, kids, authors there, and then various readings from various authors throughout the day. I mentioned my love of that, the idea that you just hear an author instead of read an author, which you can, of course, do later as you buy the book, but just to hear an author share their thoughts verbally, vocally, it's pretty cool. Okay, so Bookfest tomorrow. Once again, it's 2 to 8. It's free to show up. It's at Waterloo Town Square, Uptown Waterloo, from 2 till 8 tomorrow. That is Bookfest. Thank you again, Vanessa. So still to come on the show, we have our 12 o'clock Talkback Hour. That's between noon and 1, where we open up the phone lines just for you for whatever you'd like to talk about. Maybe something Doug Ford that you're not pleased about, or man, there's thousands of people, including hundreds and hundreds from Waterloo, that showed up at Queen's Park yesterday to protest hospital funding and lack of, and privatization and all those things. All those people from health networks all over the province who showed up at Queen's Park yesterday. We can talk about that. We can do some more Go Rangers Go. We can do a lot of things. It's the 12 o'clock Talkback Hour from noon till 1. Coming up next, we're going to be joined by Linda Ockwell-Jenner, David Kuhn, and Steve Bentley. Those are the guests, the panelists. It's the Friday 4 panel. When we return, number 4 on the panel will be me, Larry Fedoruk, in for Mike Farwell, 570 News Radio, and here on Rogers TV.
Here's special guest host, Larry Fedoruk.
Welcome back to the program. For Mike Farwell, I am Larry Fedoruk, and we're putting me at number 4 on the panel of the Friday 4 panel. Please welcome our other panelists. The president of MotivationalSteps.com, Linda Ockwell-Jenner, is here. Good morning, Linda.
Good morning. It's lovely to see you again.
You as well. You as well. David Kuhn is here. He is the former board chair at KW Accessibility. Good morning, David.
Sorry, I was muted there. Good morning, Larry. It's
all right.
Been a while.
It has been a while. Good to see you again. And also welcome back Steve Bentley, who is managing principal at Northern River Financial. Good morning, Steve.
How are you this morning?
I'm doing well. I trust we are all well. Everybody's good?
Yeah.
Ready to rock.
Let's do it then. I mean, today we're going to talk about the notwithstanding clause. Of course, that involves encampment at Victoria and Weber. We'll get to that. We're going to talk about Dunkin' Donuts coming to Canada, and is Tim's up for the battle? And we'll do a little rah-rah Rangers as well. That's all coming up in the panel. But I want to start here today because I was so enamored with this initiative coming to Waterloo. It's called the Sunflower Initiative. And it's got to do with hidden disabilities, which a category in which I would put myself, working with low vision. And are we doing enough for hidden disabilities? And would you like to see more programs like this? But and I guess, David, by default, I'm going to start with you as somebody who's worked so much with accessibility in KW. And what do you think of the hidden disabilities issue? And are we doing enough?
Yeah, I would say no, we're not doing enough. But that being said, I do think this particular program is a step in the right direction. The challenge with hidden disabilities is exactly that. They're hidden. When people think about disability, they often think about what they can immediately see. But there are many people dealing with conditions and challenges that aren't visible. Unless they choose to disclose them, people are not going to know that they live with them. And I also think part of the issue is that many people don't think about accessibility or disability until it affects them personally. And I'm not accusing anybody or pointing fingers when I say that, because honestly, I think that's human nature. It's something we all do. Most of us tend to think more about the things we deal with ourselves than the things we don't. I do that as well. And I say that as somebody with cerebral palsy, somebody who uses a wheelchair and a walker. And just because I live with a physical disability doesn't mean that I'm an expert on every aspect of accessibility or that I get it right all the time either. But I do think the more we listen to other people and learn from experiences outside of our own, the better off society is overall. So again, I'll go back and say that programs like this really can help because they raise awareness. They remind people that not every disability is visible, and sometimes people may need a little, extra understanding. And to me, that's the biggest issue here. Accessibility should not be something that we do because we have to. It should be simply about how we build communities and interact with people. Because at the end of the day, we don't know what anybody lives with, really.
And part of the Sunflower program, by the way, and it's worldwide. It started 4 or 5 years ago in Australia. Basically, in this case, is a lanyard that has a sunflower symbol on it that you can wear to indicate that you can wear it whenever you want, or not wear it to indicate that you have a hidden disability. Now, not everybody's going to recognize what that is, but that's part of it. Is what is that? Why are you wearing that? Maybe getting some dialogue going, but
does it generates that conversation, that awareness. So the more that people do it, the better off it could be to help.
Steve, I want you to chime in on sort of us being more aware of hidden disabilities and at least being sensitive to them, including programs like this.
I think we continually need to find ways to become more informed and educated on people who have disabilities. It's amazing. There's some people that probably have some disabilities they're not even aware of. But I think the thing I like about this program is discretion. So the person who wants to wear the lanyard, that's fine. If they don't, where they choose, how they share information is totally up to them. And they're not going to be asked. They're not going to be put into a position where they feel uncomfortable. It's there. But how many times have you gone and parked, for example, in a mall, in a handicap park, right? And then somebody pulls in, they don't have any physical showing of disability. And then somebody chimes in and says, you shouldn't be parking there. Well, you know what? That lanyard might help, I think, in the sense that they don't need to think that because there's no physical device that some people aren't dealing with things that we don't even know about. And it's a difficult life to have. And I think any way we can help people identify situations where they feel they need to share that information, it's not something that has to be spoken initially. It's simply that looking at a lanyard, looking at the sunflower on it. I don't know why we took so long. And I think the whole idea of doing a show like this, putting it in the paper and stuff like that is to raise awareness, because they're going to get a lot of people walking around saying, that's a common thing. Why are people wearing that? And I think it's important for them to understand. And I think the more we can educate about some of the disabilities people deal with internally, then it's all to the better for helping people. And I think it even identifies, when you're dealing in situations where there might be police involved or there might be fire involved, that if they have an indication that somebody has, some issues they're dealing with, it doesn't have to be verbally spoken until the person who has it is ready to. But it helps them identify maybe somebody who they're dealing with and some of the things they may internally challenged with.
Right, right. Gosh, I never even thought of sort of responder situations too. It's a great point. Linda, your thoughts on this topic?
Basically, I've got two thoughts on it. We have one son with a visible disability, and we have a daughter who has incurable breast cancer. Now, she was offered one of those stickers that Steve talked about, but she doesn't want it for the simple reason, thankfully, she's dealing well with her challenge. She looks healthy, you name it. But I bet you, if she didn't have one of the stickers, and she parked somewhere because she wasn't feeling well on one day, that would be an invisible, wouldn't it? One of those things, because basically they said, you want one because you're now classed disabled, but she doesn't. The other thing is, I want the workplaces to get on board with this. I want them to invite this organisation in and talk more about it, because I know a lot of people with mental health challenges in workplaces, autism. There's a lot more. There's a lot of people struggling in the workplace, and they have doctor's notes and everything to say that they should have certain requirements in the workplace. And a lot of well-known workplaces locally are ignoring those people. So I hope this organisation is invited into the workplaces. Now, the other thing is, you've got the problem. If you admit you've got, say you're autistic, then you might get bullied. So there's so many issues to this, and that's in the workplace. They should take care of that. Out and about, there's not much we can do about it. It's a wonderful initiative, and I, for one, shall share information about it and keep going on about, the sunflower, because I think it's wonderful.
I think the initial focus was city workers, and they got some training on this. And then, of course, workplace situations are some of the first places. Out in the general public, that's probably going to take a little bit longer. Interesting too, and I don't know who wants to chime in on this first, but it's on the honor system, which I like. So to get a sunflower lanyard, you don't have to bring documents and medical records and swear on a book or anything. You can just get one on the honor system, which is, I think, the right way to do it. David?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think not everybody wants to verbally disclose or talk about outwardly what they deal with. So I think this goes a long way to help with that. But also, it's just, I think it can be cumbersome to have to jump through hoops to prove what you live with and what you deal with. So I think this takes that extra layer out of it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's low vision, there's neurodivergent people, there are chronic pain is considered a hidden disability. There's all kinds of things. And I know, as me, I'm fine, I'm functioning, I'm not saying it, but I have what might be classified as low vision now in these later years. And sometimes it takes me a little longer at the checkout or at the this and that. Mm-hmm. And so far, people very understanding, very helpful, very patient. But I often thought, boy, maybe I should have that sunflower thing as well. So I don't know. I forget who. I think you all made the point, perhaps, that you just don't know, and you should be generally more patient and aware, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's ideal,
Yeah, I don't think there's other way to do it. I don't think there's any other way of doing it other than on the honor system and discretion, and let people decide if this the thing they need or do not want to need, and wear it or not wear it where they decide to. So
yeah,
it couldn't be done any other way. I don't think we have to prove ourselves.
No.
Great point, and we'll have stop there on that little bit of positive note on that. And it's coming to Waterloo Region. I think I want to say Cambridge kicked it down the road a bit. Like they said, oh, I think we might do it, but not right now. But it is an expanding program, and like we said, it's on the honor system. You can go pick up one of these lanyards, basically no questions asked, and we'll raise the awareness of the Sunflower Campaign to indicate that someone may be functioning with a hidden disability. It's our Friday 4 panel. Our next topic, we'll talk about, encampments, I guess, and homelessness is part of this issue, and specifically the one of Victoria and Weber, but also the Ontario Superior Court decision about the encampment, and then Doug Ford's threat to use the notwithstanding clause to overturn that decision. That's our next topic here, the Friday 4 panel on 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Welcome back. I'm Larry Fedoruk in for Mike Farwell on our Friday 4 panel, joined by Steve Bentley, David Kuhn, and Linda Ockwell Jenner. Coming up after 11:30, we'll talk about Dunkin' Donuts coming to Canada and the Buy Canadian, Don't Buy American issues around that and more, and also a little bit of Rangers talk, because how often do you get to the Memorial Cup? So that's coming up on the Friday 4 panel. Right now, panel, what do you think of the idea that Premier Ford might use the notwithstanding clause of our Charter of Rights to overturn an Ontario Superior Court decision that allowed the homeless people at the encampment at Victoria and Weber stay where they are? He called it cockamamie of all the words I probably have rarely heard Doug Ford use, but he even called the decision that. So, Steve Bentley, I'll start with you. Wherever you want to start, whether it's the encampment itself, the decision, or Ford's threat. But your thoughts, Steve?
I do not like a premier who speaks against a court decision. And this thing keeps going around, and his threat to use the notwithstanding clause is really feeble. It's just an excuse to try and do something that otherwise there isn't the authority to do. The judge ruled in this case that they should consider moving the residents if provided an alternative site or tenting protocol. Yes, but we don't have a solution, do we? We haven't really found a way to deal with housing homeless people. And it's not just in the city or the region, it's right across Canada in some places, and it's worse in others, right? Yes, I understand there's a capital project. They want to get going. They want to provide more accessible train service for people going in and out of the city, and they need this land to basically stage it. So I get that. But I also question people who are homeless deciding to camp on ground that isn't necessarily they don't have the permission to do that, and they can't really just do it because they want to. But that doesn't change the problem. The problem is, how do we provide and I don't like the word solution, but a workable strategy to try and not just deal with this one area in Victoria Street, but looking at the problem as a whole. And that's not just here. And then we come back to say, well, is this a city responsibility, or is the province? And then the province steps on the toes, as it has many times with regional decisions or regional discussion. And so, you know what? Maybe he should have just kept some of the money from this resale of his plane to provide for people. He does some things that I just really question without, I guess, my way of looking at it would have the authority to do it. And here, I think he should just stay away. You know what? Maybe open dialogue and try and find a way to try and create a workable strategy to try and help find some form of solution. If they have an alternative place, then potentially they could move people to that place, but they don't have. And I don't even hear anything closely resembling a strategy to deal with the people and the plight that they suffer.
The notwithstanding clause has been used by Ontario 3 times, and it's all been since Doug Ford has been in power. So I don't like the arbitrary play card there also, and on top of everything you said before that, Steve, which is very insightful. Linda, your thoughts on this story?
Well, I hope Mr. Ford is listening, because I have some ideas for him. I did some of my Googling, if it's okay to share this with you. So,
Sure.
It's called Housing First, pioneered heavily in places like Finland. So, Mr. Ford, if you're listening, or anybody else in the government, come to me and I'll share this with you. This model gives homeless individuals permanent rental homes immediately, addressing eviction, addiction, and mental health issues. Second, the EU actively champions this policy through the European Platform on Combating Homelessness. So why doesn't Mr. Ford and the other people have a chat with these people? With a stated goal to end homelessness by 2030, just a bit more. Eviction prevention. Many countries face intense homelessness and they focus on prevention, which I don't think we're doing that, because I've been here 30 odd years and Norway, for example, sets aggressive national targets to stop evictions before they occur. And we know it's not just evictions that make people homeless, obviously, there's lots of reasons. And limits stays in temporary housing to less than 3 months. Status on homelessness in Finland shows that in 1989 there were roughly 16,000 people experiencing homelessness. They've got all the facts here, you know. Since then, that number has steadily declined to approximately 4,000 people in 2020. So why have we not done something? Why have I been here for 30 odd years and it's gone worse and worse and worse? This is effectively a 75% decrease in homelessness over 30 years. Finland is also the only EU country that has experienced any decline in the number of homeless reported in the last 10 years. This is a good housing model. Why are our people, I give them permission to spend the money, not in their own plane though, to travel to Finland, wherever they want to travel, and talk to these people and see how they're doing it. Because social services get involved, everybody gets involved in it, and we've got to do something before everybody's on the street and nobody's got a home. Does that make any sense?
It makes so much sense because the Finland model has been cited so many times. I don't understand why more people are doing it. And just briefly, Finland started by saying, how do we end homelessness? Okay, the first thing is we get everybody a home. And that just makes too much sense. And but then they went step by step. How do we do that? How do we do that? And I believe they also have a model that when they build a structure or get people into these centers, somebody from the group actually becomes a group leader, a mayor of the community, or if you will. And they police themselves. In other words, if there's people there who have problems, whether it's addiction, because not all homeless people are addicts, some.
No.
It exists, so we have to deal with it. They deal with it on their own basis. And it's been fantastic, because the numbers you quoted, Linda, are correct. We're getting close to time here for our break, so I want to get to David on this issue. David.
Yeah, I think, a lot of this is very political for Mr. Ford, at least in my view, because if we looked at recent polling numbers, he's kind of slipping. So it's always interesting that when he starts to slip, he makes grandiose statements where, he gets in front of a camera and makes these comments that he sounds all big and tough. But, and I was going to say a lot more on this, but I'll just say this. He's been premier since 2018. And there are a lot of things that need to be addressed when it comes to homelessness, why people are homeless, mental health, addictions. There's all sorts of issues, and they all cannot fall on the region of Waterloo and other local communities to deal with when the upper levels of government need to make sure that there are things in place for people.
And it goes
can't
across
all fall on Waterloo.
It does, and Steve kind of alluded to this. It goes across multi-levels of government to solve this solution. It has to go across all three levels. This is our Friday 4 panel with Linda Ockwell-Jenner, David Kuhn, Steve Bentley, Larry Fedoruk in for Mike Farwell. Back with more in a moment on 570 News Radio.
Here's special guest host, Larry Fedoruk.
And I'm joined on this lovely Friday, the last Friday of May, by Steve Bentley, Managing Principal at Northern River Financial, by David Kuhn, former board chair at KW Accessibility, and Linda Ockwell-Jenner, president of MotivationalSteps.com. All right, it's coffee time. Oh, sorry, that's a brand. Coffee time is a brand. I don't know how much they still exist. Second Cup exists. Tim Hortons, McDonald's, A&W have good coffee. Starbucks, of course, you could be a Starbucks person. But now, enter into the fray very soon. Coming back to Canada is Dunkin' Donuts. And it's one of the stories this week I thought we could talk about in our Friday 4 panel. And Linda, I'm going to start with you, the self-proclaimed actually not donut fan. But nevertheless, what do you think of Dunkin' Donuts coming to Canada at a time when we're not buying American, or some of us are trying not to, and an American chain coming in and battling Tim's? What's your overall impression?
Now, have we got plenty of time?
Huh?
I said, have we got plenty of time? Because I did
Yes,
my
we do.
Googling again. Thank you. So first of all, I think it's a shame that some people who didn't vote for somebody can't do trade with us because of that person who's, stopping everybody in America doing trade with us, unless there's something going on. So I don't really care if you're American and you want to do trade with us, because it's not the real people's fault. But my point is this. Did you know that Dunkin' Donuts left Canada because it couldn't compete with the massive dominance of Tim Hortons? We know that, don't we?
That's right.
And it was
2018.
forced out. Yeah, it was forced out because it had a multi-million-dollar battle with its own Canadian franchises. Did you know that? I didn't know that. Steve knows that. So the brand slowly withered for decades before officially leaving Canada in September 2018, right? Because that's when the franchises in Quebec expired. So I first discovered those donuts when we visited people in Montreal before I lived here. But I didn't want one. I'm not a donut person. So in 2003, a long time ago, it was 21 Quebec-based franchises who really started all this off with a civil lawsuit against Dunkin' Donuts. And this is because they argued that the parent company failed to sufficiently protect and promote the brand in Canada. So that makes me think, are they going to do that? Have they learned from their lesson? Do we all remember when Target came over? And how long Target lasted? And you go into a Target shop here and they had no inventory, did they? And they failed miserably. So basically, I don't know what's going to happen again. So head office backed out of a promise to inject 40 million into Canadian operations way back in 2003. So basically, after a grueling 13-year legal battle and multiple appeals, ruled against Dunkin' Donuts, so they had to pay 16.4 million plus in interest. It's ridiculous. It goes on and on. So my thought is, why are they coming back here if they didn't support the franchise people who paid to have a franchise, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. And then like you said, why are they coming here when a lot of people won't buy Canadian? But I bet you a lot of people will buy the donuts if they're really hooked on them. So I just wish them good luck, because I think Tim's should have a competitor, a strong competitor. Is that going to happen? No, because everybody walks around in the sleep thinking, I want a Tim's, I want a Tim's, I want a Tim's. And their marketing and their brand is so amazing, nobody can break it. That's my thought.
I'm not sure about that last part, but great stats there. And one of the things you said about Dunkin' was what you said, Linda, was that they didn't support their franchisees, whatever. And the other thing is they didn't really market enough. No. So if you're going to offer something, you got to get on media and tell people about yourself, and they just didn't do that enough. So combined with everything you told us, Linda, they kind of faded away by 2018. At least in the market, and it's a different company bringing them back in, I think. That may a different Canadian company bringing them back in.
Well, that's good then, right?
Yeah,
that's good news.
We shall see. Steve, your thoughts on Dunkin'?
So Dunkin' Donuts is a Montreal-based restaurant operator, Foodtastic, who plans to bring hundreds of the donut shops to Canada as early as this year. Linda touched on history. History can come back and bite you. And I think about Krispy Kreme donuts, who came here and they didn't, well, they're still here, but they didn't last. And so I remember in Mississauga when they first came, I was being directed into a parking lot line, be able to go through the drive-through to get donuts, and there's police directing traffic. And that was in Mississauga. Dunkin' Donuts failed. They had corporate issues. Obviously, this is a new company, has a franchise holding in Canada. Really has nothing to do with the advertising and the marketing that's done in the US. That's simply done for the US franchises that are there. They've got to come out and do their own thing here. And they're up against a really tough competitor. I mean, you think about Tim Hortons, they're spending multi-million dollars right now building. Actually, I think Kitchener-Waterloo is supposed to get 2 new stores, and they're modifying and improving and changing. And they've really dug into that Canadian aspect of Tim Hortons. And although it is not owned by a Canadian, obviously it's owned by a company out of Brazil. And it's really something where I hope they get some traction, but they failed. And I don't know what's new. It's just like the Target example that Linda said, well, it's great in the US, so we'll bring it here and not make a change and not think about the Canadian consumer. And then we're up against a brick wall where Canadians don't want to buy America right now, right? Even we go through our product selection and try and weed out the ones that are Canadian based versus from the United States. Not because we hate the United States, we just are at odds with them seriously with respect to how they're treating us in the trade relationship, right? So I don't know how it'll do. And I think of another example, somebody who tried to bring back Mother's Pizza. Remember that? I mean,
Yes,
they came
very
in,
much
so they had one in Kitchener, they had one in Waterloo, Brantford, Hamilton, but it didn't succeed. And I think any business who thinks they can come in and restart have to really seriously go back and find out, well, why did the original franchise in Canada fail, right? And I think a lot of that was corporate fighting in between the Canadian and the US offices. But there's a reason. And I think it's got such a heavy American flavor, if you want, that I think we'll have a tough time here, because right now and for the next few years, Canada is really going to be up against not really doing anything that's American.
So I think you're also saying, correct me if I'm wrong, that the Dunkin' Donuts slogan, which is America runs on Dunkin', might have to be nuanced.
Yeah. Well, it depends if you consider us a 51st state or not.
Stop.
Yeah. Oh, shudder. Oh,
Sorry.
shudder. David, Dunkin' Donuts. What do you think of them coming to Canada?
Yeah, you know what? I mean, I think Steve touched on this a little bit, and Linda too, with the history. Lots of things to consider. I mean, they are, when you think of Dunkin' Donuts, I think of America. So I mean, right now that's a tough thing with Buy Canadian versus, what's going on with the orange fellow in Washington and whatnot. So I don't know. I don't think Tim Hortons necessarily has to worry. But that being said, Tim Hortons kind of rests on its own history and lore within Canada as, defining Canada for a lot of people. I mean, Tim Hortons, regardless of whether it's owned by a Brazilian company now or not, people still associate the brand with Canada. So I think that's tough for anybody to come in and fight against. I myself, if I'm gonna go get a donut or even something for breakfast, I might go to Tim Hortons. But I don't like their coffee. I haven't liked their coffee for a long time, and I tend to go to Starbucks more. So I think more competition. Good. Give people more options, and they can go where they want to go and buy what they want to buy wherever they want to buy it. But no, I think Tim Hortons, Canadian or not, right now, they're still ingrained. So I think for any company coming in, whether it's Dunkin' Donuts or anyone else, they're gonna have a tough go. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, it's interesting. I had a marketing guy on this week who said the most Canadian thing about Tim Hortons right now is their heritage story. And they do have that. So what they were saying was the Canadian loyalty is the upper demographic. The younger demographic doesn't necessarily have that loyalty to Tim Hortons and may be ripe for the picking by a Dunkin' Donuts. I don't know, Steve, do you see
I
that?
think the demographic you're talking about louder there, it's younger generation, and they're really into designer coffee. You know, the Starbucks and the roasteries, and not really are big fans of Tim Hortons. And that said, certainly wouldn't necessarily be fans of Dunkin'.
Yeah. The same company you mentioned there out of Montreal that's bringing Dunkin' in, they own Second Cup.
Oh, really? Oh.
And how
Can I
is
ask you
Second
a
Cup done?
question?
What's
Can I
that?
ask you guys a question?
That's
Because,
true.
like, you know,
That's
the 407, it's owned by a foreign country. We sold it, didn't we?
Right.
Yes,
And
Spain.
we lost, eh?
It's a company in Spain.
Yeah, and we lost a lot of money by doing it. Like, we could be rolling in, the dollars with that. So, how did Tim Hortons be bought by another country? Why couldn't we keep somebody here buy it? Why do we keep letting all these things go? Does anybody know the answer?
Well, it's not government related, first of all, and second of all, it was a reverse takeover with Burger King and another company.
Oh, really?
So
Oh,
yeah,
that's interesting.
so it's not an easy story, but the majority shareholder is a capital company in Brazil.
Because, we talk about not wanting to trade with America, and I know why, but it seems like most people own a lot of stuff in Canada where they're making lots of money and it's going outside of the country. So I just wondered how that happened. But as you say, one's not government, the other one is. Thank you, guys.
Well, David, you mentioned you're not crazy about the coffee. That's the other thing cited is somebody's coming in, they're looking at the missteps of Tim's in the past. Not that there've been a lot, but they had a problem figuring out coffee for a while. Some of their menu items were questionable. I know they used Bieber and Ryan Reynolds in their marketing, trying to. So I don't know. I just think in the competitive world, almost anybody can be picked off, if I can use that term, by anybody with a better marketing.
Well, I think one of the ones we mentioned in terms of coffee is McDonald's, who's a very, very strong competitor against Tim Hortons. Not from a respect of the food or anything, but certainly from the coffee aspect.
But even in England, they used to have a lot more designer coffee shops and things the kids here would love. And even they're struggling in England now because a lot of them are closing down across Europe. And when I say, designer, really nice coffee you can taste, not a Tim's, not anything else. And so maybe they'll have a struggle just because there's a struggle all over the world with coffee. Who knows?
Well, isn't it the argument against most big chains, big companies, is that you get smaller chains, smaller groups that can't keep a foothold because it's not economical for them to do so, right?
It's a shame.
So whether we're talking about coffee or any sort of retail outlet.
Yeah, like the Walmart of coffee chains. Who is that? Yeah. It's totally that. It's totally that. So it'll be interesting. I think they plan in the next, I want to say, couple of months to start seeing Dunkin' Donuts franchises because it's a Montreal company. The first couple might be in Quebec, and then the majority of them for the next couple of years will be Quebec, Ontario, and then they'll roll further out if they last that long. So do you think any of that American marketing with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon and the Super Bowl ads, does that ring at all in Canada? Anyone?
Not for the younger generation, because well, what I've read, the younger generation you were talking about earlier are not phased out or want to buy from people like that. They want to make their own choices. They're more choosy. And basically, who would they be getting at? Because I don't like adverts and, I just like to choose for myself. So basically, I can't answer that question. But I think the world is going to change with the next generation anyhow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a little coffee break before our I'm going to use my own kitchen at home because I get free refills. So we'll do that. I actually prefer making my coffee at home. I don't know if anybody else is like that, or do you get your coffee?
We do. Yeah, we do. Yeah. Unless we're in a rush, unless we're in a rush. Yeah. And then I get a medium coffee with 1 sugar and 1 cream, and I never drink it all. I don't know why I ordered it. It's just a habit. I think a lot of us should go to Tim's because it's a habit. And Dave's getting one, so I get one, and I tip it down the sink. And I smack.
It's our Friday 4 panel. That's Linda Ockwell Jenner. You're also hearing David Kuhn and Steve Bentley. Go Rangers Go. We'll touch on that next when we return here on 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Welcome back to Larry Fedoruk in for Mike Farwell with Linda Ockwell-Jenner, David Coon, Steve Bentley. It's our Friday 4 panel, and I'm saving the best for last, maybe. I get that not everybody's an avid hockey fan, but it's hard not to be when the Rangers are going all the way to the final game for the Memorial Cup, for the whole thing, as it were, which is something you work towards every year, and so much has to go right for you to make it, and it has, and here they are, and they await their opponent after tonight's game, and they play on Sunday at a time still to be determined precisely, but we'll talk about that. But Linda, I'm going to pick on you first because I know you're not the biggest hockey fan, but
No.
I take it you're going to be a bit of a cheerleader this weekend anyway.
No. No, I'm happy for them. Look at
Not even secretly.
Linda, I'm hurt.
No, you're not. I've got better things to do, like putting plants in my garden. No, seriously, guys, I'm very proud of them. And I hope everything works out the way they want. They've worked very hard towards it. And, just because I don't like hockey, lots of other people do. So I'll hand it over to the guys who do.
All right. Now, before we do, guys, Linda, and I'm going to be stereotypical here. Are you a football fan then? Are you a footy fan at all, or just not a sports fan?
Not a sports fan, really. I mean, my husband is very much into it, and Birmingham City is my hometown one. Aston Villa is what Prince William supports, So basically, I will watch F1, the racing cars. I love the racing cars. I watch them with Dave, if that's any good. So that's a sport, isn't it? I'm a sport racing cars fan. Yeah. Over to you.
All right. Back to the Rangers and hockey and junior hockey and David.
Yes. Yeah. I think this is something, I think you can feel it a little bit in the community. I think that being said, there are always going to be people who are going to jump on bandwagons once a team starts winning, whether it's hockey or anything else. But in this case, I don't really care. I'm from Kitchener. I've always loved the Rangers. And of course, I'm going to cheer them on. And I'm hoping for the best. And yeah, like I said, I think the excitement is there for a lot of people. And, more people are talking about it right now, paying attention to the games and, getting caught up in it. And I think that's a good thing. Communities need things like that.
Right.
And I think, apart from the Rangers and the players and everybody that's connected to the team that way, which great, good for them and wonderful. But from a community standpoint, if it's something that's going to bring people together, something we can celebrate, especially with the world such as it is right now, anything that brings people together is positive, and hopefully the Rangers can bring it home for themselves and for Kitchener, and go Rangers go.
All right. And I do believe, by the way, every sports fan should reserve the right to jump on and off a bandwagon as they see fit. I see nothing wrong with that. Here, Steve, go ahead.
I would agree with that last sentiment. I mean, I'm a Toronto Maple Leafs fan, but right now I can only be a Montreal Canadiens fan because I want to see Canada still continue in the playoffs, right? 2003 was the last time that the Kitchener Rangers won the Memorial Cup playing in Quebec City. That's 23 years ago. I think this is great for the community. There's going to be watch parties. The odds are going to be open Sunday night for people. Have to check the restrictions and what you need to know, but there are options to go to bars. A number of bars are having big watch parties. I think the excitement's there. I think people sort of get drawn into sports in some cases because of the success of how some teams are playing. And right now, the Rangers won 3 games in a row. They didn't get defeated. They actually defeated the game against Everett. They beat them 6-2. So that's a game coming up Sunday. They're playing Everett again. So I'm pretty optimistic that we're going to see the Memorial Cup coming back to our city. And then we'll have time to celebrate. I think with everything going on right now in the economy and the world, good news and camaraderie and bringing people together in the region, the city, I think is a positive.
I think so too. Well said. Steve Bentley is the managing principal at Northern River Financial. Thank you, Steve. David Kuhn, former board chair at KW Accessibility. Thank you, David. And Linda Ockwell Jenner, president of motivationalsteps.com, the Friday 4 panel this week. Thank you all.
Thanks, Larry.
Thank
Good
you.
weekend, everyone. Go Rangers.
The 12 o'clock
Go
Talkback
Rangers.
Hour next on 570 News Radio.
Oh.
Take out the papers and the trash, or you don't get no spending cash. If you don't scrub that kitchen floor, you ain't gonna rock and roll no more. Yakety yak.
Don't talk back.
Just finish cleaning up your
Please talk back. The 12 o'clock Talkback Hour. What's on your mind? Nothing off limits, pretty much. And if it gets into an off limits category, I'll let you know, but I don't think there's anything really. So whatever you'd like to talk about, the phones are open, the lines are open. Give us a call on the 12 o'clock Talkback Hour here on 570 News Radio. We can always count on Grant to give us a call. Grant, go ahead. You're on 570 News Radio.
Well, I won't say uncle, I'll say dad, because, yeah, I think that's a little bit more appropriate than to say uncle to you.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, you're kind of hilarious at times.
At times, okay.
Yeah, I like that lady that was on with you today in the 4 panel. She had a bit of an accent. Yeah, I kind of got a kick out of that. And when you mentioned Dunkin' Donuts, I right away Krispy Kreme came to my mind, and then one of your guests mentioned
Krispy Kreme, yeah.
Mother's Pizza. Like they went under and then they came back, and their second time around, I don't think it was all that good. I mean, I remember many years ago we used to have a Kenny Rogers Roasters right where Casey's was, and I think that was there maybe 6 months, and then it shut down. It seems like a lot of American places, no matter what era you're in, they always seem to have a difficult time. We don't have to have Mr. Trump there to make it that much more difficult for American teams, I think, right?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Grant. It's interesting that you mentioned Kenny Rogers Roasters, because I did a piece recently on my podcast about franchises, and the restaurant industry is one of the toughest to survive, because as soon as you get going, something else trends. It's really difficult to have longevity in this particular industry. Kenny Rogers Roasters is a multi-billion-dollar, multi-location chain in Asia, parts of Asia, throughout Asia, something like 200 and some locations. They just never made it here, but somehow they hung on, and they're still a going concern on another continent, believe it or not. So there's still lots of Kenny Rogers Roasters. It's just we don't see them. Mother's Pizza, Dennis Weaver, their spokesperson, remember many of their locations were former Ponderosas. If people remember Ponderosa and Bonanza, which was a competing affordable steak chain that got taken over by Ponderosa. So there's that. And to me, just quickly here, one of the great stories of resurgence in this country was A&W. A&W, not that long ago, was virtually off the map. Yeah, it's still an odd location here and there, very nostalgic. And now they grew back to this mammoth competing burger chain. I give them a lot of credit for bringing, if you're going to bring things back and they don't work, A&W is one that sort of brought it back, and it did work. Here's Dylan. Dylan, go ahead. You're on the 12 o'clock Talkback Hour.
Hi, Larry. It's actually Philip. I'm in a windy spot here. I'm on the Grand River, somewhere between Cambridge and Paris, doing my bicycling, trying to get some exercise. And what a gorgeous day. And, I'm cycling, and I keep seeing all these great muscle cars and show cars. Like, There are just so many great muscle cars, and I think in honor of that, now with Farwell being away, I say we declare an autonomous collective and rename the Friday show the Muscle Car Friday or the V8 Friday, because so many great muscle cars out there. And man, who doesn't love the sound of a 350 Chev Block or a 351 Cleveland with a four barrel on it? Just 427s, 420s, 429s, 420s. So many muscle cars out there today. So in honor of them, I think there should be V8 Friday or Muscle Car Fridays. When it's a sunny day in the summer, I think we got to come up with a branding for the show. Especially when Farwell's not here, we got to take over on them.
All right, man. That sounds great. Thank you, Philip.
Have a great day.
And all right, have a good day and safe cycling. And by the way, it did say Dylan on the screen, so obviously the wind was affecting everybody's hearing, and it sounded like Dylan, but it's Philip. And way to go, Philip. And I love muscle cars, and I don't see the practicality of them anymore. And I get all that stuff, and I'd go electric, and I get it. But I'm from the era of muscle cars. You forgot the Oldsmobile 442, man. We're just big fans of those in our family. Just those great big cars. And I know gas guzzlers and all that, and it's just not the 21st century, but great to remember them always. Here's Terry. Terry, go ahead. You're on the 12 o'clock Talkback Hour.
Hey, hi, Larry. How are you?
Good, Terry. How are you?
Oh, not too bad. You're forgetting the old 454 heavy Chevy, the 70 Chevelle. Probably
the Chevelle. That's right, too.
The granddaddy of all muscle cars. But the reason I'm calling, Larry, you mentioned Doug Ford a couple of times this week. You're not a fan, I assume?
I am not.
Yeah, well, I'm not either. But the thing is, I think he resonates with people because he speaks the language of the common man. I mean, during the pandemic, remember, every day he was up there on the podium, telling people to wash their hands and social distance and all that. And, just the way he speaks. Come on, you guys, put on your masks. And he is an uneducated man.
Yeah.
He's got grade 12 education. I think that's where he maxed out. So I think he resonates with most people. That's why he's popular. I mean, we'll see how long that popularity lasts. But the thing regarding the Kitchener Rangers, before I go quickly, I hope they didn't peak too soon. In a short tournament like this, sometimes it's hard to beat a team twice. I mean, the London Knights 2 years ago when the Memorial Cup was in Saginaw, they steamrolled everybody in the round robin, got the automatic pass to the final game, and then they lost to Saginaw in that final game. And last year, they lost one game in the round robin. They lost to Madison Hat. And then they played Madison Hat again in the final, and they won. So sometimes sweeping a team sweeping the round robin, sometimes, at times, not always, but at times it can work against you because, like I said, it's hard to beat a team twice. So I hope they do it, but I would be a little worried about that. Sometimes you do peak a little too soon, but we'll see what happens. I hope they pull that off, but I am a little concerned, but we'll see, Larry. Anyway, it was good to talk to you, and have a good weekend.
You too, Terry. Thanks for the call. Yeah, it's kind of hard being a flag-waving, cheering fan, but also kind of into the game as well, because then you see both sides. And so Everett and Chicoutimi play tonight, and the winner of that game plays the Rangers, and we swept the round robin, so we've beat each team. So each team probably extra motivated to beat us now. So you're playing that. So again, it's going to sound simple, but it just comes down to being the better team at the given time, right? Not that that's easy. I'm just saying it's going to be a great final, I think, regardless of who the Rangers play. So it's the 12 o'clock Talkback Hour. Give us a call. Here's Kyle. Kyle, go ahead.
I like a nice old muscle car, too. I mean, why not, right? My grandfather used to have I don't know what year it was, but he taught my grandmother how to drive standard than that back in the day. So I thought that was pretty cool. But I've never had one, but I'd love to get one. I'd love to get a nice old Pontiac GTO. I think just because my grandparents, on both sides, always had a GM product for some reason. And they were very brand loyal. I think, I remember my grandfather had an old Pontiac. I think it was a 6000 or whatever. I thought it was the coolest. It was the plushiest seats. It had the 3 seats in the front, the 3 seats in the back, and the cassette deck. And oh man, I could tell you stories about that. I think it was it was a red car with a nice red interior. In 1988, I think it was, is what year he had it. And he had it for 13 years before he got rid of it. So nothing like nothing like an old story of cars and stuff. I love cars and motorsports and stuff. But anyways, Terry, before I let you go, I do this
Yes.
with Mike, and I'm going to do this with you. Okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Let's go Rangers! Ba 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 ma ba. Let's go Rangers! Ba 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 ba. Let's go, buddy! Kiss your Rangers! Let's do it! Woo! Thanks, Larry. Have a good one.
All right. Are you Kyle? Oh, Kyle. Okay. I should end on an up note there, but Kyle, if you're still listening, I want you to know that I thought of you yesterday when I saw the news about Claude Lemieux passing at age 60. And I thought, I wonder, how far back Kyle's loyalty to that team goes. And it was sad to hear about Claude Lemieux. And I thought if Kyle calls today, I'm going to ask him about that. But instead, it's good we ended on an up note. And I appreciate the call, Kyle. But actually, I have a 6000 LE Pontiac story that I wouldn't mind sharing if we get to it. But those cars, some of those big cars back in the day, and they had interiors that today you look back at them and they look like the lounge of a cheap brothel. the velour plush, weird dark red burgundies, greens and stuff in these interiors were just bizarre. That's what we wanted, I guess, back then. Now, who have I got here? Is this Dan? Is it? It's Dan. I can't quite read the screen here. Tell me, is this Dan?
It's not me.
Hello?
Hello? Hello?
Hi, who have I got here?
My name's Ian.
Ian. Okay, so I was one letter off. I couldn't read the screen. And
Okay.
Ian, I'm saying Dan, and I'm like, I don't think it's Dan. I'm thinking I'm reading the screen wrong here. So, Ian, sorry, my man. Go ahead, sir.
No worries. No worries. I listen to you periodically when I can, and you fill you fill the shoes very well.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. So you're talking about old muscle cars. My first car was a 71 Monte Carlo. I've had 2 other Monte Carlos in my life. They were great cars. Only had a 350 in them, but still sporty. You could seat a few people in them, and they were great to look at. My first one had a 8-track tape player in it, and I had a cassette converter that went into that. So it was pretty neat.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's great. I remember those.
Yeah.
The 8-track cassette converter. Yeah, wow.
Yeah. But you have a good day.
All right, Ian, thank you so much. See, when I always say I have low vision, but I'm functioning, these are times when I don't quite function. I apologize to Ian for missaying his name there, but so I don't quite know how to share this story, but there was it's a story we have in our family that actually happened to a friend. I think it was a friend where he was working at a place and a guy brought a car in, and he was buying a part, or he was bringing his car, and he was trying to describe his car, and the gentleman, English was his second language. Okay. So I just think I'm not making fun of anybody in particular. It's just English is tough. And if it's not your first language, you're going to run into little things that I find amusing. That's all I'm saying. And I'm sure if I tried to speak your language, I'd be very amusing to you, and I hope you would laugh at me. So the guy brings his Pontiac in, and they're talking, and he goes, so what kind of car? And he goes, Pontiac. And he goes, yeah, well, what kind of Pontiac? And the guy says, I've kind of given away the punchline here, but anyway, he says it's a Ghoulie. And he goes, I beg your pardon, sir? And he goes, no, it's a Ghoulie. It's a Pontiac Ghoulie. And he goes, I've never heard of that. He goes, oh yeah, it's a Ghoulie. And he goes, would you mind if I come out and have a look at it? And he goes, yeah. Come out and have a look at my Pontiac Ghoulie. And he takes him and he shows him on the back. It's the Ghoulie, and it's the 6000 LE. And which, the way it's written, it kind of looks like the word Ghoulie. So wouldn't you know that, I've heard that story for years. Every every Pontiac now, I know they don't make them anymore, but every one we still see on the street somewhere, and we still in our family go, oh, look, there's a Ghoulie. And actually, if you think about it, wouldn't have been that bad a name for a car. Really. Kind of cute, the Ghoulie. Yeah, no? Okay. Here's Mark. Mark, go ahead. You're on the 12 o'clock Talkback Hour.
Hi, Larry. I'm talking about cars again. The cool thing about cars back in the day, they had a giant trunk on them, huge trunk. And we used to stuff people into the trunk going into the drive-in so we didn't have to pay for them.
Absolutely. A classic, Mark. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever do that, Larry?
We did, not often, because in our group of friends, nobody wanted to actually be that person. But yeah, I'm sure we did that more than once. Yes.
Okay. It was like a giant Parisienne. You know that car?
Oh yeah, my family was a GM family, a Pontiac family, and we had a couple of them.
Okay, right on, Larry. Thanks.
Thanks, man. Thanks, Mark. I've always wanted, never did it, and not a muscle car necessarily, but just a big ass old mid 60s car to have as a second car. Never did it. Too late now. Not going to do it. And I didn't care if it was restored perfectly or everything. I just wanted it in decent shape, preferably a convertible. And over the years, I did look at a couple just to see if I wanted to go there. Because then, too, if you don't get them in tip-top shape, you're pretty much spending a lot of money trying to keep this old car on the road. And that was the first thing I always thought of. You pop that trunk, and you're like, that trunk sleeps 4 people. That trunk is like literally 4 people could lie down on that trunk with luggage. I don't know what they thought. We were hauling around in the 50s and 60s and even early 70s that we needed this massive cargo space in a car. But God, those trunks were just huge, stupidly huge, man. Well, we got on a bit of a car theme here, but whatever else you want to talk about, it is the 12 o'clock Talkback Hour. Whatever you want, call the program. We'll be back with more. 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Taking your calls, it's Larry Fedoruk in for Mike Farwell. Mike's prepping for, I'm sure he's going to be at the game tonight in Kelowna because that's where he is, and then he'll be calling the game on Sunday as we play either the Everett Silvertips or the Chicoutimi, I never get this right, Sanguin? Okay. Chicoutimi or Everett playing tonight, and one of them is going to play the Rangers on Sunday, either at 7 o'clock or 9 o'clock our time, depending on what happens in the NHL, because if there's a Game 6 in Montreal, Carolina, then that'll affect the starting time of our game. But either way, the Odd will be having a free watch party. Just bring a small donation in cash or a non-perishable food item, and you're in for the watch party at the Odd on Sunday night, whatever time it starts. Here's Preston. Preston, go ahead. You're on the 12 o'clock Talkback Hour.
That's easy for you to say, Larry. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Oh, not too bad. It's Friday. Well, every day's Friday, Saturday for me, so that's good.
All right.
Couple of things. You were talking about taking your stuff and going someplace with other stuff, and you were talking about George Carlin. I've heard that skit before, and that was classic. And he also talked about nicks and knacks. You know, you got your nicks and knacks on the coffee table. He's going, which one's a nick and which one's a knack? But I love the George. You know, and you take your stuff and you go to a cottage. And you take your stuff out, and you put it out, and then you go to the beach, you pick up some of your stuff, you take it to the beach, so you got some of your stuff with you. But, yeah, loved George's look on life. Miss that guy.
Just a different little version of your stuff. It's a smaller version of your stuff. Yeah.
That's right. And talking about cars, did you ever sneak into a drive-in in the trunk, Larry?
We just had somebody ask that, and we did that, but I don't think I was ever the one in the trunk.
You were the driver. I was both. I was the driver one time, and then I was in the trunk the other time. I even remember those days like it was yesterday. Funny as hell, I'll tell you.
Yeah. And I've often wondered about those days. Like if the drive-in, they kind of knew but kind of let it go. Didn't care.
Yeah, well, you need at least two people. If you went in with just yourself, and that you're bound to get caught, right?
Right. True point. Yes. Good. Yeah.
Yeah, you needed at least two people in there, make it look like it, right? But still, they give you that crooked eye look when you're going through, right? Everybody's trying to be quiet in the trunk, which you could hold 6 bodies in back in the day with those nice big cars.
No kidding. No kidding.
Yeah. So I can't wait for Sunday night. I don't care who wins tonight, because I think Kitchener's going to take care of it on Sunday for us. So you have a
Preston Paul, thanks. Go Rangers, go. Thank you, man. Got to go on the break here. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Here's special guest host, Larry Fedoruk.
Mike will be back on Tuesday. Of course, you can hear Mike bringing you all the play-by-play of the Memorial Cup final, starring your Kitchener Rangers on Sunday night, either at 7 or at 9. That is still to be determined, depending on NHL playoffs, as to when they start that game in Kelowna, 7 o'clock our time or 9 o'clock our time. It won't be later than 9. And then immediately after the game, the Rangers and Mike Farwell and all the coaching people and staff fly back. And therefore, we're going to give Mike the Monday, and Mike will be back on Tuesday, I'm sure, with many more stories about his week to 10 days in Kelowna, British Columbia, and the Memorial Cup. Cool. Very cool. Very cool. And, of course, the game time start to be determined. That'll affect the watch party at the Odd, but that is going to be open Sunday night for a big local watch party. That's cool. While callers are calling or lining up or whatever, I want to share something again that I shared at the beginning of the program. I'm so enamored of this thing today that I thought I'd share it again. And the story quickly is the Scripps Spelling Bee. You know, these kids that are amazing spellers of words you've never heard of and will never hear of again. They spell all these, and not only do they know these words, they know their exact spelling, and they become champions. And every year around this time, we see all the highlights of the finalists, the 10 smartest, the 6, the 5, the 4, the 3. And now we have a champion, and his name is Shrey Parikh. He's about 14. He's from California, where, I don't know if exactly where, but from where the Scripps Spelling Bee is. It's in California. And I had to look this up because I didn't know they did a speed round. I thought that was new, but apparently they've been doing a speed round for 3 or 4 years. So here's the champion doing a 90-second speed round. The idea is to spell as many words in 90 seconds as you can. The most correct wins. And this is about 90 seconds, so it's a little long to just play as a clip, but I want you to hear this. This is the 90-second speed round with the champion, Shrey Parikh, at the Scripps Spelling Bee. Okay? Listen to this.
Your 90 seconds will begin once I pronounce your first word, and I won't say another word until you press the button. So your first word is Taroni.
T-O-R-O-N-E.
Enthymeme.
E-N-T-H-Y-M-E-M-E.
Iguape.
I-G-U-A-P-E.
Denebola.
D-N-E-B-O-L-A.
Fedodo.
F-A-S-D-O-D-O.
Coathai.
C-Y-W-Y-D-D-A-U.
Pohutakawa.
P-O-H-U-T-U-K-A-W-A.
Monadnock.
M-O-N-A-D-N-O-C-K.
Emut.
E-M-U-T.
Nanofossil.
N-A-N-O-F-O-S-S-I-L.
Tongkang.
T-O-N-G-K-N-G.
Nakatosh.
N-A-T-C-H-I-T-O-C-H-E-S.
Fla.
F-L-A-I-T-H.
Semele.
S-E-M-E-L-E.
Russell.
R-U-S-E-L-L.
Solder.
S-A-W-D-E-R.
Campernell.
C-M-P-R-N-E-L-L-E.
Nickel.
N-I-C-O-L.
Zamenis.
Z-A-M-E-N-I-S.
Tar Parker.
T-H-A-R-P-R-K-A-R.
Tlachli.
T-L-A-C-H-T-L-I.
Madokwa.
M-A-D-O-Q-U-A.
Richiarius.
R-E-T-I-A-R-I-U-S.
Belintawak.
B-L-I-N-T-A-W-A-K.
Tesseraconter.
T-S-S-A-R-A-C-O-N-T-E-R.
Toracathapsia.
T-A-U-R-O-K-T-H-A-P-S-I-A.
Rapakivi.
R-A-P-A-K-I-V-I.
Wyeb.
U-A-Y-B.
Paremia.
P-A-R-O-E-M-I-A.
Melanket.
M-E-L-E-N-G-K-E-T.
Terraglin.
T-R-A-G-L-I-N.
Homeland.
H-O-M-E-L-Y-N.
Chikungunya.
CHIKUNGUNYA.
Bromocryptine.
BROMOCRIPTINE.
Kashaw.
CUSHAW.
It's like, man, I'm sorry, that's the whole 90 seconds, but I thought really to appreciate it, you have to hear that whole 90 seconds. What a speed round. Bromocathene. What was he thinking? No, I'm kidding. I did not recognize one word. One word. And these kids at that age to be able to have the access in their brain, he didn't stop and think about one. Now, he's dealing on volume, and what he did was, I think he got a few wrong, although on the YouTube video, they flashed the actual word up on the screen as he's spelling it, and so you can look at it while he's spelling it, but he just rips through the spelling, you know, LMNOPQRS. That you really don't know what did he say that? I don't know. So I'm sure they checked and double checked to make sure, and there was instant replays, I'm sure, and all that kind of stuff for this guy. I just found that incredible. Speed round at the Spelling Bee Championship, where they have access to, when you see the championships, if you watch the clips in previous years, where when they get into the latter rounds and it's the real experts and it's the real tougher words, they can ask questions like language of origin, or I think they can ask for a general meaning too. I'm not sure. I seem to remember they can ask 2 or 3 basic questions before they spell it. And sometimes they do as they think. And then they realize, because they've been trained and this is their expertise, that if it's from a certain language, that the K sound might be a CH, or you know what I'm saying? Certain languages have certain, when they become English words, they have a certain pattern to them and sound of letters and stuff. So that's just incredible. Wanted to share. I was saying earlier, there's about, active words there in the English language. There's about 170,000 words. And our active vocabulary, if we have a general grasp of English language, is 10 to 15,000 words that we use. And we might know about another 15,000 that we know the meaning of, but we don't use them that much. So if somebody says, "Why, I'm incredulous," you would probably know they're ticked, they're upset, they're insulted. But you might not use the word, but you know what it means when you hear it. So we've got about another 15,000 of those, but actively we only use 10 to 15,000 words. That's our average vocabulary, and we do fine with that. However, these guys at the Scripps Spelling Bee, just out of this world, just a whole other level. But the speed round, never heard it before, and there it was from the champion. Here's Andre. Andre, go ahead.
I'll say,
hey, Andre.
Game day, baby.
What's that?
Game day, baby.
Well, almost. Yes, sir.
No, tonight. No. And Montreal's playing tonight, right?
Oh, that game day. Okay, yes, of course it is. Yes, it is Game 5 tonight for them.
You're scaring me here. But
well, everybody's been saying Rangers game day, Rangers game day. I was in Rangers mode. Sorry.
Well, no, I just like game day because I get to drink my wine. And talking about that, Larry, I've been listening to you and I miss it. I thought, but you're in Monday, right?
I'm in Monday.
So I'll get to call in again. So yeah, I was going to say I'd like to listen to you because I do my chores and I listen to 570. Right, it's a lot of positive into it, and especially in the community. But you're kind of like what's his name, Vincent Price, the guy who does the laugh, Michael Jackson, but he reads books, right?
Right.
And yeah,
okay, I'm not sure if I get that, but okay, explain.
Vincent Price, I listen to his stories with my daughter, and he's just so passionate about what he says, what he reads, and you just get so interesting of following through, right? Kind of like you.
Oh, okay. I see that. I see what you're saying, and thank you very much.
You're welcome. So I wanted to call in because unfortunately, Lake Cal, I did Montreal, anything can happen. But common sense here, like Mr. Bentley said, tonight's a good occasion for the community and all that stuff to have a Canadian team. Just like my friend Louis said, they want to do this for Montreal. They want to do it for Canadians fans. And it gives me an occasion to celebrate. And it just, Carolina, they have what it takes. Same thing as Vegas, not Vegas. They have what it takes. So it's going to be very interesting. Me, unfortunately, I was hoping for Montreal, but, that's a dream. So, yeah, that's what I have to say.
All right.
And I wish you a great one. And hopefully one day, Larry, we can sit down and have a box of wine together.
All right. A box. All right. Andre, thanks for the call. And by the way, hope the windsurfing goes well, because it was a little windy there at the end. But thank you, Andre, for the call. There's nothing like, let's get together for a box of wine. How often do you hear that statement? A box of wine. It's very good wine. It's just that whole idea of the box of wine. Well, it just amused me for some reason. Thank you, Andre. Kyle is back. Go ahead, Kyle.
Yeah, you were asking how far my loyalty goes with the Montreal Canadiens. I could tell you a quick backstory. So my dad's side, they came from Europe to Trenton, and they only got back in the day the Kingston broadcast, and the Kingston broadcast would only show the Montreal Canadiens. So that's on my dad's side. My mom's side, same thing. My grandparents, when they immigrated from Europe to Canada, they actually were in Montreal. So my mom was born in Montreal, and then my grandparents lived there till they passed away. And so it goes back like 3 generations. I'm the 3rd generation that loves the Montreal Canadiens. And I've been to the Bell Center, I think 12 times now in my lifetime, just because my grandmother lived on the West Island there. And so we'd always take the train in when we could to see the Montreal Canadiens. So, but I knew about Claude Lemieux. I was born in 1989, so I never got to see him play for the Montreal Canadiens or win a cup with the Montreal Canadiens. But there goes my little loyalty backstory there, Larry.
That's interesting. Love those stories. Thanks, Kyle. Thanks for calling back on that. Appreciate it, buddy. The Claude Lemieux, big Montreal star, and I think played with the Avalanche at some point in his career as well. I'm not sure if it was before, because it was the Avalanche, so obviously not still the Nordique before they moved. But Claude Lemieux, yeah, just one of those stories that you see, one of those passings that you see, and in my case, I hear about all of them, because a lot of these, like there's a musician, famous jazz trumpeter, his most famous pop song that he was on was Waiting for a Friend by the Stones. He played saxophone on that. But he was a known jazz guy for years. Like, one of the reasons the Stones got him was because he was this huge respected jazz guy. And his name is Sonny Rollins. And Sonny Rollins just passed. He was 95. Played well into his 80s when he finally stopped touring, like just a lifelong saxophone player and musician and on stage and playing and recording and session guy. Boy, if you could get Sonny Rollins for a session. And so my point was, a lot of these, the Claude Lemieux, the Sonny Rollinses of the world, a guy that I loved for years that nobody would have heard of. His name is Todd Snyder, kind of a troubadour musician, kind of folky guy, a bit of a country singer. I just found out he passed in November. I mean, these aren't reported on the news. So I see them on Facebook, mostly, and other social, but mostly on Facebook. And then I'm like, and then immediately I look it up, because you can't trust Facebook, and there's people that actually post completely fake obituaries on Facebook. Can you believe it? But they do that, and so I always look it up and verify it and go, okay, this person died, so I saw Claude Lemieux, and I was like, oh my goodness, Claude Lemieux. Age 60, and as far as I know, and I don't know that it's changed since I checked on it, I think it was late yesterday, but cause of death not revealed. But you have to think, and I hate to speculate on things like this, but you have to think that at 60 there must have been some underlying health issue. If it was accidental or something else, that would have been reported. So when the family's not saying, it must have been something like that. So here's, I hope I get this right, is Delane? Delane?
Close
is this
enough.
you here on?
Hi,
Okay.
Larry. So I want to just briefly comment on the Montreal-Carolina games and the singing of the Canadian national anthem in Quebec and the enthusiastic, full-blown singing.
Okay.
Just so gratifying. And with all the news of separation in Quebec, just all I want to say. Thank you.
All right, man. Yeah, good. I mean, that's good to hear. You know, if we're gonna hear about other anthems being sung now, I guess
I just can't believe they're singing and full out and not holding back, and I really like to see that. We need to be proud of our country.
All right, sir. Thank you. Sorry, I thought you hung up the phone. I apologize for interrupting you there, but
no problem.
I'm going to take one more call before we go to break here. And here's Rudy. Rudy, go ahead.
Yes, good day. Yeah, it's very, very sad about the hockey player Lemieux, Claude Lemieux. I was a big Montreal fan since I was born in the late 50s in northern Quebec, very northern Rouyn-Noranda, if you ever heard of that.
Right. Oh, I have heard of it, yes.
Yeah, so that's where we landed. My parents landed first when they came to Canada, and my dad worked in the mine up there. So, yeah, I remember when my brothers got the hockey set, you know, one of those with the little paddles and that.
Absolutely.
And that was with original 5, so you only had the 5 teams, and you exchanged posts, and Montreal was one of them, and New York and Toronto, of course. But, yeah, I seen on one site, there must have been something unfortunately wrong, but his son found him, and they had a furniture business down in Florida. I think a furniture store, and his son unfortunately found him at 3 a.m.
Oh, my goodness.
Suicide.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Yes, I've seen it on a couple of sites already now.
All right.
And it's weird because only, not that long ago, he carried in the torch for the Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it in several sites. That's what they're saying so far. But like you say, no details.
All right, Rudy, thanks for the call. I appreciate that. At least, yeah, we know that. Thank you, Rudy. And Rudy, I hate to do the original 6, not 5, original 6 teams of the NHL. This is 570 News Radio. We're on Rogers TV. We'll be back in a moment. Larry Fedoruk in for Mike Farwell. Got to tell you, if you do have something you want to get in on the program, compact it. Make it short, only because we only have a minute or so left. Otherwise. Oh, and somebody wrote me a note, sent me a note. My phone said, when you were talking about Blue Origin, did you say Blue Orbit? I might have. And I apologize because I know it was just a misspeak. I know it's Blue Origin. And the reason we were talking about Blue Origin earlier is, if you haven't seen it, you'll see it on a news broadcast on television if that's what you do. If not, just search it. It's supposed to be an engine test only. Like, this rocket was never supposed to leave the launching pad of Cocoa Beach, Florida yesterday. And it's Jeff Bezos, or as I like to call him, Biff Jesus. It was Jeff Bezos's Blue Origin space rocket venture that was testing this rocket engine, and it blew up. It blew up real good. It's just to the point where you wonder, like, how far away would you have to be to not be affected by this explosion? And apparently, no one was injured. Everybody was accounted for. And really, on these things, there's nobody standing at the bottom of the rocket with a notepad or an iPhone going, okay, I'm going to record this. Everybody's far away in these cases, but still, it was just, And this colossal failure of this rocket, which was only supposed to test the rocket engines, instead it completely exploded, damaging the launch pad that's now going to take months to repair, and probably cancels Blue Origin's involvement in the next Artemis mission, which they wanted to be a part of. And this was part of it. We're going to test this rocket engine, and somehow Blue Origin is going to be part of the next mission to the moon, along with SpaceX and NASA, of course, and any other company that might provide any other kind of components, parts, what have you. So anyway, thank you. I might have said Blue Orbit at one point, but it's the kind of day I haven't had a bit of a day, but thanks for hanging in. I appreciate it. We will be back on Monday for Mike Farwell as he gets home from what is hopefully a big game that you'll hear. If you don't go to the Odd, you can always listen to the game on 570 News Radio on Sunday night, the Memorial Cup game. Go Rangers, go. Have a great weekend. We'll talk on Monday.